Doesn't judge you.
Honey, society still judges me. I'm pretty fucking autistic.
Yeah, but you're not also an autistic girl.
Some days I am.
Hence why I said you present masculine. You get away with it.
Some days I'm a girl, some days I'm a guy, and some days we're recording a brand new episode of Soon to Be a Major Motion Podcast. The podcast where we read books that were turned into movies and watch movies that are based on books. And I am Billy Beck.
I am Cody Beck.
And Cody, how have you been?
Well, since the first round of the Olympics wrapped up, I say that because the Paralympics are now happening.
I am not nearly as bad with the Paralympics, mostly because Peacock or NBC will not allow me to be.
Correct. We finally got a chance to celebrate Valentine's Day.
We did.
Yeah.
We had a wonderful date on Friday night.
We did. We went to a new local Korean barbecue place. It was way fancier than we were expecting.
I walk in my fucking Aloha shirt, and it's like, oh, this is like a nice place.
They stick us in the back corner.
It's Korean barbecue, but not all you can eat.
Well, traditionally, Korean barbecue is also, you cook it yourself.
Yeah, and so it's not all you can eat, which was the first sign that we were in for something different. And then, like, the server came with the meat and plopped it on the grill and started cooking while we're there, and we're like, wait a minute, that's my job. And it took us, like, halfway through the second meat course before we realized, this is just how it's gonna be, let's enjoy our evening together.
So it was just you and me and our friend Steve, the waiter.
She was very nice.
She was lovely.
She cooked our, what did we get, the pork lovers course?
Yes.
Cooked it to perfection.
Pork belly, which I've never seen pork belly sliced thinly and rolled up that way. It was like rolled up like strips of bacon, so she literally just unrolled it onto the grill.
Which was great.
And then
pork jowl was next, which was an interesting texture.
Yeah.
Not bad, just new.
Yeah. Last was bulgogi.
Which fucking ripped.
It was so good.
Also, their salad was, like, surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Like, on their menu, they reference, this is what's it called, 350-degree Korean barbecue. If we're gonna hype them up, we might as well shout them out. On their menu, they specify that they want to, like, highlight the quality of their food. Mm-hmm. Which is probably why they don't do all you can eat and why they offer A5 Wagyu.
Yeah.
But, like, the salad was good. And it came with, like, a soup to start as well.
Yes, it was a beef radish soup.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
It was tasty. It was like a warm hug from the inside.
And then
we also got the rice. The crispy fried rice.
Yes. I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, because the meat was so good. But that, like, the perfect texture of crispy fried rice.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Do you remember the as you can see the as seen on TV things that you used to be able to watch infomercials and it would have the big red as seen on TV logo in the corner?
I worked at a Toys R Us while there was an as seen on TV end cap.
So I think there was actually an as seen on TV store as well.
In the good malls. No, the mid malls.
I was going to say, I think King of Prussia had one, but it was like in the basement next to the 5th
It was on the cheap end of the mall.
Yes. That's what I said. But they sold a thing, and it was for brownies, and it was so you could make all edge pieces. And it basically was a divider that you put into your brownie tray, and my sister has one, and it fucking works. It's just a bitch to clean.
Because all the nooks and crannies and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But the crispy fried rice, each one, I think they just cooked them, I think they did the rice in just smaller trays, smaller batch. Because each piece was a corner piece.
Exactly. That's why I brought up the brownie thing. Because I was like, it made me think they just like cooked it in that way and then sliced it.
Yeah, which, delicious. The meat was super good.
Yeah, the cocktails were great.
Oh, yeah. I had something green.
Yes, I had a Lychee doll. I don't know what that means, but it was great.
It was like gin and lychee, and yours was nicer than mine was. Mine was a little too sour. Mine was mine was a mule. It was a Korean mule.
I think I would have liked yours. I would have traded with you if I didn't like mine as much.
Yeah, yours was really good.
I do appreciate that they have something on their menu that's basically just fuck me up, fam.
Yeah, they had an option that was like, just tell us what you like, we'll make something up.
Yeah.
And if I had seen that before I had ordered, I probably would have done that.
Mm-hmm. But then after that, we took a nice little walk over to our local cinema theater.
Went to the old Lamely. Still staying alive. Still over there somehow.
I'm so happy.
Somehow, some way, they're still running their thing.
I feel like at this point they're probably just renting.
Probably.
Because I think they had to sell, but honestly, I don't know if the developers pulled out because everything's fucking dead in that block.
I mean, as long as they're there, we will go.
Yeah.
But what did we go to see, Cody?
We went to go see The Bride, aka Here Comes the Motherfucking Bride. And I know...
AKA Frankenstein 2 Frankenharder.
I know that
AKA Frankie and the Bride.
This movie has been getting mixed reviews, apparently, which I understand, because it is not gonna be everybody's cup of tea, but I fucking loved it.
Yeah. You really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as you enjoyed it, but I did like it.
I have already had a conversation with one of our friends about the fact that the line from the movie she's getting tattooed on her body, which is not the one you think.
Not me too? Me too?
Close. It's from slightly before that scene. Knock, knock, girl, where's your rage?
Oh! So
do we want to do spoilers or no?
From here on out, we're going to do spoilers, and I'm going to, through the magic of editing, put this at the end of the podcast, I guess.
Hooray!
Alright, so at the end of the podcast, you'll hear all those spoilers that we definitely didn't just record. So now for the topic of discussion today. I'm so glad we're recording this over the course of 4 days, because I'm already gassed.
We were also just yelling at each other. So.
A little bit. So yeah, we saw The Bride. Hear our thoughts at the end of the podcast. The podcast, this one, is part 2 of The Wizard of Oz. Because I think we've established, or at least we're trying to establish, that The Wizard of Oz is I don't want to say the pinnacle of storytelling, but the story that every story or every movie that came after it has aspired to be. Mm-hmm. And therefore, it has been adapted many more times than the 1939 film that we've grown to love over the last 85 years. It was adapted prior to that. It was adapted as a silent film a few times, and it was adapted after that, and it was sequeled, and all those fun things. So, we're going to take a look at tonight 3 more adaptations of Frank Baum's The Wizard of Oz. And we're going to go in kind of a meandering order. And we're going to start with 2005's The Muppets Wizard of Oz. Cody, did you know this existed before I told you?
Before you told me last episode, no, but I'm also not surprised.
I remember watching this on ABC with my family when it first aired, and I thought it was hilarious and great, and I wanted to watch it again, and I never did.
Till right now.
So while we go watch the movie, Cody, let's treat our audience to this nice trailer.
Hi, Toto! Could someone spot me?
Disney presents an all-new Muppet movie.
Just follow this road to Emerald City.
The Muppets Wizard of Oz is now on Disney DVD. Dorothy, the Lion, the Tin Thing, and the Scarecrow
Oh, this is the last straw. No, I see one right here. Hey, stop that!
are on a quest to make their wildest dreams come true.
We're on our way to meet the Wizard of Oz, and he's gonna make me a superstar singer.
He's gonna give me a brain.
See, and he'll probably give me lots of money, okay?
With never-before-seen footage, Oz was never like this.
If she finds out you have the super shoes, she'll hunt you down and pry him off your cold dead carcass.
Join Ashanti, Queen Latifah, David Alan Grier, and Quentin Tarantino.
You digging it?
In a timeless tale
Take me to meet your wizard.
that will take you down a whole new road.
You're all backwards. I can see my rear end. I must be working out, huh?
Your wizard is gonna grant some wishes.
You really want to grant my wish, Wizard? Send me home.
The Muppets Wizard of Oz, now on Disney DVD.
Clear! What'd I miss?
Now, while you enjoyed that lovely trailer of Muppets Wizard of Oz, we are now doing our second attempt at talking about the movie.
We were cursed.
We watched the movie, and then we recorded for 4 minutes, of which, unlike Mark on that Beowulf episode, which is coming out next week, our Audacity didn't crash. Our mixer crashed.
Yay!
Great timing. So, anyway, Muppets Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
If you have not seen it and would like to know what it's about, Ashanti, you remember her?
Barely.
She plays Dorothy Gale, with Aunt Em, played by Queen Latifah, and Uncle Henry, played by David Alan Grier, both of whom were in The Wiz Live 10 years later. Funny that. And Dorothy lives in Kansas, works at Aunt and Uncle's diner, would like to not do that because she wants to be a star. She wants to be a famous pop singer. So she auditions for the Muppets Road Tour Star Search?
Kind of.
Well, she tries to, but she gets there late and doesn't make it. And then when she gets home, she has a fight with Aunt Em, and
There's a twister.
there's a tornado that takes their double wide into the sky with Dorothy and her pet prawn Toto inside. And when they land in Oz, Toto becomes Pepe the King Prawn.
Still called Toto.
She meets, what's her name, Tiddlywinks?
It's something like that. I didn't catch any of the witches' names except for Glinda.
The Good Witch of the North, who is not Glinda, played by Miss Piggy, who also plays the other evil witches and the other good witch, and the Munchkins, who are all the Muppet Rats.
Yes.
And she explains the world, and Dorothy travels on to Oz, where she meets the Scarecrow, played by Kermit the Frog. She meets the Tin Thing, played by Gonzo, and she meets the Cowardly Lion, played by Fozzie Bear.
Yes.
They get to Oz. Beaker and Beaker's boss, whose name always escapes me.
I don't remember.
The scientist guy.
Yeah, I always thought it was Dr. Beaker, but that's not his name.
Dr. Beaker's dad. They introduce the green glasses as they meet the wizard for the first time, who is a CGI monstrosity.
Yep.
That changes shape to appeal or frighten whoever's in there. When he turns into the giant CG chicken to entice Gonzo. Ew.
Yep.
Didn't like that.
Creepy.
Didn't like the sexy peacock lady he was before the chicken either.
Were there always this many sex jokes in the Muppets?
I don't know.
Because this movie was weirdly horny.
Let me finish recapping it real quick, and then we'll talk about that time Toto grabbed Gonzo's nipples. The wizard says you need to go get the witch's magic eye. So they go to the witch, and she brings in the flying monkeys using her magic biker's hat, which also Miss Piggy.
Sweetums is the leader of the
He's
gang?
one of the gang. They're a biker gang of flying monkeys.
Yep.
They rip the Tin Thing and the Scarecrow to shreds, you say? To shreds. But Dorothy and the Cowardly Lion get taken to the castle. Dorothy, because she wants the silver shoes. And the lion, because she's hungry and wants nuggets. And Fozzie Bear uses comedy and magic to escape his prison and save Ashanti. And Quentin Tarantino describes the violent scene he wants them to shoot. But Kermit says they don't have the budget for it, so instead she kicks Piggy into a bathtub full of mostly bottled water, but also some tap water to which she's allergic. So she melts, and they get the glass eye, take it to the wizard. And he does a big TV special in which he gives everyone what they asked for, and Dorothy, a stage, and she realizes this is all wrong. Doesn't really make sense. You own the TV networks and have a captive audience. This isn't real stardom. It's not what I want. I actually kind of want to go home. So they go back to Munchkinland, where Glinda is visiting her sister. She falls in love with Scarecrow, because of course she does, and sends her back to Kansas, where she reunites with her aunt and uncle at the diner. She's been missing for days, but they're still going to work, because when it's not your real kid, you care a little bit less. Case in point, Kermit the Frog is waiting there to invite her on tour with the Muppets, and they're like, and she's like, I'm home now. I want to be home. And they're like, home is, we just want to see you happy. So you'll be at home on tour. Get out. Go. We don't have a house anymore. Go on tour with the Muppets, you fucking psychopath. And then she's on TV, and it's a sellout at the diner, and the end. So, were the Muppets always this sexy?
There were, like, multiple horny jokes. I don't recall the adult version. Like, the movie aimed at adults having this many horny jokes in it.
I also don't think it did. I think this was very much a product of its time.
For better or for worse.
Joke-wise, mostly for worse. As much as we laughed at... So, when they meet Gonzo, Tin Thing, he describes why he doesn't have a heart. And if I recall, that's very similar to the novel.
Yeah, quick sidebar. This is actually, like, a pretty clear... I don't want to say one-to-one, because obviously they're tweaking and updating stuff. But
yeah, because I don't think Dorothy of the novel wanted to be a famous singer.
No, but it's a pretty... faithful adaptation to the events of the book. More faithful than the 39.
It's the Muppets doing the novel, not the Muppets doing the Garland.
Correct, yes.
But, so yeah, Gonzo explains how he had this love of his life, Camille the chicken.
Yes.
And he has like a screen on his chest and shows a picture of them together when he was still Gonzo, but the witch was jealous, so turned him into a Tin Man. Yes. And he has no heart. And there's, like, some knobs and stuff around the Tin Man. His nose plugged into the computer, and then he unplugged it and plugged in a new nose, which was a cell phone that he never uses again.
And I also think that was a dick joke.
Probably. But Toto, Pepe, reaches up and starts fiddling some dials above the screen and says, what do these do? And Gonzo just says, those are my nipples. Which was fucking hysterical.
It was really funny.
What isn't funny is Pepe having a fucking homophobic panic attack, running screaming from the room. But in 2005, that was comedy.
Yeah, because two men touched, even if they're puppets.
There was the scene where she goes into Dorothy goes into the makeover machine. Yes. And comes out, and she's played by Kelly Osbourne for a second.
Yeah.
And they make some jokes about how, like, oh, you've got a real Kelly Osbourne thing going on here, but we liked hot, sexy Ashanti instead. And she goes back into the machine and comes out as hot, sexy Ashanti. And, like,
requisite 2005 fashion.
Yeah, and it was very of the times, a little misogynistic, pretty homophobic.
Very, choice feminism isn't the word that I would use, but very, strong female protagonist, ass kicker.
Yeah, like Pepe wants to do mouth-to-mouth to Dorothy, and instead they defibrillate her, but no one offers mouth-to-mouth to our cowardly lion.
That is true.
Because homophobia. But as far as, like, updates go, I liked... Or updates and adapting into the Muppets universe.
Yeah.
I loved the Poppy Fields being a nightclub.
Yep.
Where the club band is Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem.
Yep. The Munchkin Rats were very funny.
They were great.
The business with them was very funny every time it appeared. I'm trying to think the casting was well done as well. Like, each Muppet slotted into the different role well.
So I had a point I wanted to make about that. It felt like they made Kermit the Scarecrow, because if you're doing a Muppets anything, you gotta get Kermit in there pretty quick.
Yeah.
So he's the first one she meets, and then, like, down the line, Gonzo and Fozzie.
Yeah.
And it mirrored the 39 a little bit in a way, kind of. Like, they made him the Scarecrow because he's going to have more screen time. You get Kermit the Frog on there.
Yeah.
In the 39, and I didn't mention this when we talked about it, the Scarecrow's song is shorter, and Cowardly Lion gets 2 songs because Scarecrow's going to have more screen time. And Cowardly Lion has less screen time because he's introduced later. So you give him a little bit more meaty stuff to do later in the movie. And it just reminded me of that, like, screenwriting decision on the original film. Not the original film, but the 39 film.
Yeah.
Compared to, like, all right, this character gets more screen time. Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, I know I said they slotted into the roles well. Because, obviously you've got Scarecrow ultimately in the novel becomes the leader of Oz. He becomes the leader of the Emerald City. So he does ultimately become the like, ruler of everything, which makes sense because it's Kermit.
Yeah.
But I could also see him being the Tin Man, and the joke is that he was taken away from Miss Piggy. Like, something there.
Yeah.
But you can also...
I think the Gonzo Tin Man thing was smart.
Yeah.
It was a good use of, like, that original plot element, and also, like, the lore of Camille.
Yes.
It was weird seeing Kermit the Frog be stupid through most of the film. Because I always consider him to be a character with a level head.
See, that's the thing, though, is that the Scarecrow isn't stupid. He just thinks he's stupid. I mean, yes, there's... In the novel, there's the business with him not just walking forward and that kind of thing. But he's overall, like, relatively intelligent, you know? And, because he doesn't get anything from the brains that he's given by...
I can't believe they kept the brand joke in.
They kept it and added on to it. They yes-anded the brand joke.
Oh, yeah, because he had a poop.
Yes!
So Gonzo can flat out say, those are my nipples.
Yes.
But Kermit the Frog has to dance around the word bathroom.
Yes.
Oh, man, I was just thinking about the poop jokes in 1941. I watched 1941 last night, and they had Slim Pickens basically reprising his role from Dr. Strangelove. And he gets kidnapped by a Japanese sub, and they take his Cracker Jacks and think the compass inside is special. So he swallows it because he doesn't want the Japanese to have it. So they feed him prune juice to get him to shit the compass out. And there's a scene of a pantsless Slim Pickens sitting on a toilet, yelling, "You ain't getting shit out of me!" And it escalates from there. Great shit jokes. Spielberg knows a good poop joke. The rest of that movie, not very funny. This had better laughs. But yeah, Kermit had to dance around a poop joke.
Yeah.
And we have to remember, this aired on TV. Like, there are some... We got the DVD version of it, but there are some very clear...
Ad
commercial
breaks.
break is about to happen moments.
Yeah.
Another update that I appreciated, and this was like... I think we both agreed this was a sticking point with the original story in our first episode. And it's the moral, there's no place like home.
Yeah.
I really liked the updates to this. Like,
Yeah.
real early on when Dorothy lands in Oz at Munchkinland, she says, "I want to go home." And then I think somebody asks why, and she can't quite explain why.
Yeah.
Like, the character understands that's the right answer, but she doesn't really want it at that moment.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the plot is her thinking, "I want to be a star," actually.
Yeah.
Her wish with the wizard is to be a star. And I kind of liked that, because that is what a teen girl would do.
Yeah.
In that situation. Not immediately just want to, "Oh no, I'm in a new place, I want to go back home." It's like, you can't have the opening act be her saying, "I want to leave Kansas," and she's finally out of Kansas. She wants to experience not Kansas.
Yeah, it's the "I want to go home" is kind of a knee-jerk reaction, and it's the reaction everyone has when you travel not for pleasure, not by choice, is "I want to go home."
Yeah.
And I think that's like you said, she recognizes that, like, it's the right answer, quote unquote, but it's not what she really wants, or so she thinks. And then by the end, she realizes, no, it is what I really want, because this isn't, yeah, I want to sing, but I don't want to sing like this.
I don't think she learns that she really wants to go home. I think what she learns is that she loves the people that raised her, and that she respects, it's gonna sound stupid, but she respects the idea of home.
Yeah.
Because she's also super willing to go right on that tour.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's true.
She doesn't stay home, but she learns to respect home. And she learns to, like, love home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's more important than being home.
And
Because what's the point of being home if you don't really want to be there?
Yeah, I think...
She learns to appreciate home. That's the word I'm looking for.
I think it also helps that home appreciates her.
Yeah. Because there's combat. Not physical combat, but she and M spar at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a contentious relationship. And it's not, the kindness that we see between M and Dorothy in the 39.
Yeah. That's more of an external... They kind of took the Miss Gulch and made it internal. And just like the Miss Gulch is teenage drama, or teenage angst.
Yeah. Which, I mean, there's no Miss Gulch in the novel, so... Yeah,
it's just...
If you're not gonna have, I mean, you have Kermit and the rest of the cast in her world before she goes to Oz, but they are Kermit the Frog, they are the Muppets, they are famous.
Yeah.
It's not, her farmhands, and then they become these characters. So you don't need Miss Piggy running around as an evil Miss Gulch trying to eat her prawn, you know?
I mean, you do
You could have, but you didn't need to.
You do kind of have that mimic, though, because, like, Miss Piggy is the one who basically is like, sorry, can't audition, bye, and shuts the door in her face. So you still have that kind of element of it.
Yeah, and then she becomes the Wicked Witch as well. Yeah, it's still there, kind of, but it's more nebulous.
Yeah.
Also, I like how in this film, their house did blow away and she was inside. It wasn't a dream.
All of this stuff literally happened.
It kind of fucking happened.
Yeah. Jeffrey Tambor's really good at playing a disingenuous political shit.
Oh my god. When he said that thing about I've been living a lie, and he takes off his hat and he's got that full head of hair, fucking slayed me. Like shit like that fucking sings in this movie. There's a lot of like good comedy moments from the characters.
There's a lot of things that I wonder if millennials developed as a like humor-wise, that millennials developed as a result of growing up on the Muppet-style humor. Because, I mean, you kind of had it in Baby Muppets as well. It was a little bit different. But, like, the Looney Tunes-style humor and the Muppet-style humor, there was a specific joke very early on, and I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't necessarily the joke itself. It was the timing. And I was just like, you and I have had that exact exchange with that exact timing.
I don't know if that's specific to the Muppets, though. So, I mean, some of it obviously is, but it's also, like, 2005, you know? A lot of mainstream humor was really referential at that point. Like, all the spoof movies where it was just, oh, we're gonna do the scene from the movie, except someone's gonna fart, and then Britney Spears is gonna show up and shave her head, and then the Harry Potter is gonna cast a spell. And this is a movie about the Chronicles of Narnia. Like,
we're gonna make a dick joke where there wasn't a dick joke.
Yeah, it was just like let's make stupid jokes building off this other stuff. Like there wasn't any originality.
It was kind of like because that would have been around the time that adult animation was really like blowing up. Because like Family Guy and stuff.
Family Guy was popping off,
and a
lot of that was the internet too.
Yeah, feels...
there was a lot of like this other stuff that was so readily accessible. Yeah. And stuff started going viral for the first time, and that was part of, like, the referential humor, was like, oh, this is a thing that makes everyone laugh when it ends up in your email inbox, because that's how things used to go viral back in the day, kids. Like, let's put it on TV.
It was very... Where this movie shines is when it's making jokes when it's making the smart jokes. When it's making the jokes based on the material that it is adapting, as opposed to making references to the time the movie is set, you know?
Yeah. Stuff like when she lands in Munchkin Land and sees all the Muppet rats and says, oh, you're a bunch of rats. And one of them, this is a referential joke, is the Oz for Dummies.
Yeah.
But he opens that up and it's just definition of rat and definition of Munchkin.
Yes.
And it's like, all right, fine.
Well,
sure.
I was thinking like
that was a good joke.
They have Statler and Waldorf as the Kalidas, who are...
Was that in the book, the fucking bridge thing?
Yes.
Okay, I meant to ask you about that.
Yes, the Kalidas are monsters that chase and try to eat the crew, and the Cowardly Lion scares them and then breaks the bridge. So that is a thing that is in the novel. But, like, their references, their referential humor is funny, because they're always doing that, so them bringing that bit into this world still makes sense.
But even then, they weren't doing a lot of, like, pop culture references. They were more, like, referring to the character arcs.
Yeah.
They were making jokes about the characters. They're making jokes about, like, in-world.
Yeah.
And, like, the Statler and Waldorf scene was great because of that.
Yeah. And I think that's where... When you're just trying to do something funny because it's funny, it was missing a little bit. Like... As much as we laughed at the "those are just my nipples" joke, that was kind of that's like a little blue for a Muppets movie.
We're like, what the fuck? What did I write down? Oh, I just wrote down homophobic Toto. Never mind.
But then you're making a joke about the Munchkin rats when they rescue them. They're calling it Operation Gingham. Operation Crustacean Liberation. So it's like when you're playing with the material that you're given in the story, that's where this movie shines.
Yeah, when the jokes stay internal.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna establish that the Flying Monkeys are a biker gang and you make biker gang jokes, that was good characterization.
Yeah.
I liked all the Jeffrey Tambor stuff. Because when he revealed himself, when they go without the glasses to his lair, and it's just a soundstage.
Yes.
And the glasses were essentially, CG.
Yes.
Like, that was a good bit, and he pops out and he's like, I'm just a tour driver in Hollywood. I wound up here, I don't know, I don't belong. I wanted the eye because the Wicked Witch could see me for who I really am, or Dorothy picks that out. And, like, that was a good escalation on that character and that plotline. What did they need to get from the witch in the novel? Was it a magic eye? Or?
They just needed to kill her.
Oh, they just needed to kill her outright.
He wanted the...
Because the broomstick is the 39.
You're right. No, yeah, he straight up just says you gotta kill her.
Oh.
And he says later when he gets revealed, yeah, I'm afraid of the evil witches because they have actual powers, and as soon as they find out I don't have powers, I'm cooked.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Then, yeah, I liked his character. I loved his moment when he's giving everyone their stuff, because it was just a great performance. A great day on set for Tambor.
I think it's really interesting, the evolution from the original 39, where I'm not a bad man, I'm just a bad wizard, versus he's very clearly a con man and a grifter in 2005, and the Dorothy character recognizes that and does not cut him the slack that the other characters do in the 39. Like, straight up, she's just like, no, you suck. I want to go home. Let me go home.
Yeah, she immediately sees right through his ass.
Yeah.
Which, there's a lot of metaphor in this one about Hollywood. He had that great line at the start of his television special, The Wizard, where he says, I'm from Hollywood, where we keep our promises and never back out of a deal, and looks right at camera. And then they cut to the audience watching in Oz, they're like, no, I don't believe you. Like, that was good. And like the dangers of stardom, and it added some depth to Dorothy's arc that I don't feel was in the 39 or in the novel.
Yeah. They also aged her up a bit, because she's only... In the novel, she reads as, like, between 7 and 10. I want to say in the 39, she reads as between, like, 10 to 15. And she's very clearly, like, 16, 17 in this version.
I believe Ashanti was 25.
Jesus.
24 or 25 when it came out. Black don't crack, girl.
She looked like a baby.
Also, no balls. I mean, well, this was a TV special on, like, I think it was on ABC. This was network TV.
Yeah.
So you can't have balls, but... Gee, I wonder why a black girl would want to leave Kansas. Can't think of any reasons in 2005.
Especially in 2005.
Why a black girl might want to leave Kansas. Anyway. I thought it was funny that Uncle Henry claimed that it was his diner, even though the diner is called Aunt Em's Diner. But also, who named the diner? How many nieces and nephews they got? Because I only saw 3 black people in this movie.
I mean, you gotta... There's the trope of, like, Aunt Jemima and aunties and...
Yeah, I mean, that's not why they called it that. They called it that because that character's name is just Aunt M.
Yes.
First name Aunt, last name M. They're not even related. I just thought that was a weird... Like, wait a minute, what?
Well, he could have named it for her, too. If it's his diner.
Yeah, but then he'd call it Emily's.
This is true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not a lot of subtlety with this one.
No, I mean, it's the Wizard of Oz. Oh, there was a Girls Gone Wild reference.
Yes.
What the fuck was that about?
They were getting into the
Muppets were leaving the audition.
And it was Pepe who said, man, who would have thought it would have been so difficult to find an all-American girl with talent in these parts? And Pepe is climbing in after Kermit, and he's like... Yeah, how do the Girls Gone Wild directors do it? Like, sir!
Knowing what we know now, Pepe's gonna get canceled, huh?
So, fun fact, just because I was curious who was puppeteering Pepe and when he came out, I was, like, when he joined the Muppets, I looked him up, and his last, like, major appearance, he was in the Muppet TV show a little bit, but his last major appearance was playing cards with P. Diddy in the Muppets movie. The 2011? 12?
Diddy's in that fucking movie?
It's like a throwaway game.
Oh my god. I can't watch that anymore now, huh? Well, he's not gonna see money from it. He's in jail, isn't he?
Maybe?
I don't know.
They didn't get him on all the charges, but yeah!
It's funny because like you looked that up and then said to me, he's in the Epstein files, and then explained. I was like, no. Diddy wasn't in the Epstein files.
He was the competition.
So Epstein was the WWE. Diddy was WCW. And funny enough, Vince McMahon was TNA.
God.
Anyway, we joke or we cry. It's one or the other.
Yep. I don't really have very much else to say. I'm curious as we go.
Oh, I wanted to ask you in the novel, the first time they meet the wizard, does he appear in different forms to each of them? Was that...
He does.
Okay.
Yeah. They streamlined it for the 39, but yes, he does individually meet with them, and it's actually over the course of a couple of days.
Yeah.
And he does appear in a different guise, and I believe the guises are accurate. Dorothy sees the floating head, the Cowardly Lion sees a fireball.
Well, it was a dragon in this.
I mean, how are you gonna...
Same thing.
Yeah, I feel like that would be too visually similar to the floating head.
Yeah. I also kind of loved that it was shitty CG, knowing that it was a bus driver making it up and a computer in the back.
Yes. What was the... Cowardly Lion was the fireball. The Dorothy was the head.
Scarecrow was like a different kind of floating head. And then Tin Man was getting seduced.
Yeah, I think the Tin Man was a lady. It was still a lady. And then, man, I really can't remember what the Scarecrow was. Because if the Scarecrow wasn't... The Scarecrow might have been the lady, actually. I don't remember what. Because I also think it goes Scarecrow, Tin Man, Lion, Dorothy.
Well, they definitely streamlined it down, but not as much as they did for the... I'm surprised they got, like, all the beats in pretty quick. Although they were mostly just sketches. Each beat was a sketch.
Yeah, which is kind of how the novel is set up too. Like each chapter is kind of like its own little story that happens. Yeah. And it doesn't, it's kind of episodic in that yes, it builds, but the stuff that happened before doesn't really affect what's happening going forward.
Yeah, nothing carries over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that structurally works for the Muppets.
Yeah.
It does. Like, I didn't hate this.
I didn't either. It's not, like, a masterpiece by any means, and I feel like it suffers from the time it came out being 2005, and I feel like it also suffers from, like, the ones that we consider masterpieces, like the Muppets masterpieces are, of course, Christmas Carol and Treasure Island. And both of those are, yes, they came out when we were kids.
I don't know, I haven't seen Treasure Island since, like, 95, so...
There are so many people that cite Tim Curry in that movie as their sexual awakening.
Yeah, that's...
But that's
So I guess they were being sexy back then.
But that's exactly it, is that you've got Tim Curry and Michael Caine, respectively, in those movies. And...
Ashanti ain't Tim Curry.
Yeah, like, she was very popular at the time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But she just doesn't... It was kind of a gamble.
There was no staying power.
I appreciate that they did take the quote-unquote risk of putting a black girl in that, like, lead. I'm actually really curious.
Well, that wasn't too late after the Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella.
Well, yes, it was. That was 90s. And that was Brandy. That was like 98.
97, you're right.
I was thinking Hairspray. Because Queen Latifah was in the Nikki Blonsky Hairspray.
That was later. That was 07.
Okay. Yeah, that was... I was curious if that was, like, in that era.
I wonder, would we talk about this more if they had gotten Beyonce?
They were trying to get Beyonce?
No. I'm just thinking, like, who was like, in that same kind of wheelhouse in 05? And I know Beyonce did acting. Like, Destiny's Child back in the day was on Disney Channel.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it would even, like, the character type she was playing, too, like, Raven Simone, I think it would be more of a cult classic.
Yeah, probably. Like, Ashanti just... I can't even pronounce her name right. Ashanti just didn't, like, last. She was a spark in, what's the phrase? A flash in the pan. Yeah.
And, like, it's not that she's not talented. She just doesn't... She's kind of the Disney choice. She's safe.
I'm not even sure Disney was involved in this.
No, I mean Disney as in, like, the...
Yeah. Oh, no, this was Fox Television.
Yeah.
Oh, Touchstone TV. And it was ABC. Disney was involved.
Yeah. But I just meant Disney in terms of, like, she's the safe, palatable to the most audiences. Because I'm also wondering, like...
But the problem is she just stands there and smiles and lets the Muppets do all the work. Like, she's not even that good a straight man in the situation.
Yeah, I wonder, too, if it might have more staying power with someone who's a little bit stronger.
Okay, I found a little list of 2 other actresses who auditioned.
Okay.
Hilary Duff.
Okay. That would be a very different movie.
Very different movie.
I mean...
I think she would have done really well with it, because she's a good comic actor.
Yeah, well, she had a TV show.
Exactly. And the other was Jessica Simpson.
Oh my god.
That would be notorious for different reasons.
Yeah, it sure would. I'm glad they went with Ashanti in that case. Like, I think Hilary Duff would have made a better movie, but I appreciate that they kind of made the choice to go with black actors.
Yeah, I think that was a bolder choice to, like, you know, set it aside a little bit from the, let's face it, whitewashed 39 a little bit. But also they didn't do a lot of music, so it did set it aside from The Wiz as well. And the music they did was very Muppets choral. Like, Ashanti wants to be this big singer, and she really only sings, like, by herself in that opening number at the very start of the movie, which is kind of like a music video.
Yeah. Overall, it's just very safe.
Yeah.
Like, every choice that's made is safe for the time. Like, we consider some jokes, like, distasteful or whatever now, but that was just, like, the era, and they were just going with the vibe.
It doesn't mean it was right, but it's what everyone was doing.
Yeah.
Crazy. Speaking of the music, they got fucking Michael Giacchino.
Yeah.
The dude who did the music for fucking Up did the music for this.
So, you know what's funny? This isn't even the only Muppets Wizard of Oz, depending on your definition of Muppets.
Was there an episode of Muppet Babies?
No. There is an entire adaptation that is Sesame Street, and it's Elmo and Grouchland.
Oh my god, I remember that.
Yes.
Oh my god. That's technically not the Muppets. They are Muppets, but they are not the Muppets.
They are Muppets lowercase, not Muppets trademark.
Exactly. It's Henson. It's still Henson.
Mm-hmm.
The soundtrack album has 6 tracks from the movie, and an additional 9 tracks from other famous Muppets stuff. Like the Muppet Show theme, and Mana Mana, and Rainbow Connection.
Good lord, is it just Muppets Greatest Hits?
Plus
Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, pretty much. That's really funny.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Like, I don't consider it a waste of time, but there were definitely some moments where you and I looked at each other and we were like, how did they get away with that?
This was on network TV!
Like, goddamn!
Yeah, like, I'm in about the same boat. Like, it's, at the time, this is pre-streaming. I think this probably aired on a Saturday night or Sunday. I don't think we caught the beginning, but I think we, like, sat down as a family, turned on the TV, and it was on, and we were like, alright, we're watching this tonight. And I remember it being a serviceable evening in front of the TV. And looking back on it with fresh eyes, yeah, it was probably a serviceable evening in front of the TV, but it wasn't, you know, it wouldn't have been worth buying the DVD at the time. I get why it's not on any streaming services. I doubt anyone's clamoring to see this.
You and your sister would have been in high school at this point, right? This is 2005?
I would have been in high school.
Would she have graduated yet?
Depends on when it debuted.
Because I'm thinking, like...
She would have, like, been about to graduate high school.
Because considering what I know about how you grew up, I'm shocked that the nipples joke passed.
I don't remember that joke. We may have turned it on after that had happened.
Okay.
To be honest with you. Because if I had heard that line in that delivery, in that cadence when I was 15, I'd be quoting it every day. That would have stuck with me so hard.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like, there's nothing beyond what we've already pointed out. There's nothing objectionable about it. It's not, like, horrendously bad. It's not amazing and you have to see it. It's middle of the road.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's interesting that they chose to adapt the novel instead of the movie. I feel like
I appreciate.
Yeah, I feel like they knew, like, we're trying to do something a little different with this, so let us do that.
Yeah. And that's kind of the point of why we are watching these adaptations as well, is because we're so familiar with that 39 movie. And this made, you know, attempts to not adapt that movie. And to adapt the novel for a new audience. Because, you know, so many kids, especially in 2005, watched the movie, didn't read the book.
Well, or there was a Muppet tie-in version of the book.
There may have been.
Because I'm just thinking, like, at this point, as soon as there's any movie that's even vaguely popular with kids, bam, there's a Golden Books version of that out at the next Scholastic Book Fair, baby.
You know it. You know it. So that's how, a comedy version of this happened in 2005.
Yeah.
So for our next picture in this triple header, we're going to watch a bit of an older film. This is the 1982 Japanese animated adaptation from, I believe, Toho Animation.
Oh boy, how are they gonna traumatize us today?
So this, if you missed our last episode, is available, I believe, on archive.org, as was Muppets if you didn't watch it and got this far. So we are going to let you listen to a trailer, and Cody and I are going to watch a movie. So let's watch a trailer. Oh, wasn't that such a great trailer? I really hope I can actually find a trailer for this. If not, you're getting the opening theme song for the movie.
Oh boy.
So we just watched...
Oh boy, did we?
Toho Animation's 1982, The Wizard of Oz. And, that sure was a pretty close adaptation of the source material.
Yeah, they definitely hit all of the beats of the story. They just eliminated some of the reasons.
I think there's some stuff they eliminated for a good reason. Like, maybe don't bring up that poppies are opiates in Asia.
Ooh.
In children's material. I get why some of, like the Bran pun.
Yeah, that's...
Like, you're gonna get rid of that because that is an English language play on words.
Yeah, I was thinking more like they went into the Scarecrow's backstory, but they didn't give us the Tin Woodman's backstory.
Even though, like, he was asked for it and he was like, nope, no backstory, move on.
Yeah, they included the Kalidas.
Yeah, they very rule of threes the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like, you meet three witches. She meets on her way to Oz three companions, which is, standard.
Yep.
I think there's three obstacles on the way to Oz once they're all together, if I'm not mistaken. Because there's the first ravine, the Kalida, and... Oh, I guess they didn't do the poppy fields. Did they? I thought there was a third one.
No?
Might be talking out my ass. Oh, they stepped on something, and they weren't sure what it was.
Oh, yes, they were showing that the Tin Woodman was sad.
And then, yeah. First of all, if you haven't seen it and you couldn't find this, it's on archive.org, and then search for The Wizard of Oz, and then on the filters, hit 1982, and video. And it's the one labeled Toho. It's like an hour 17.
I don't know how they crammed this entire story in there, but they sure did.
It felt like they were focusing a lot more on the journey to Oz and the character development than on the rest.
Yeah, it also, I think this is the first adaptation that's done a good job of showing why Dorothy wants to return to Kansas.
Yeah, because Kansas is nice for her. She likes it there.
Yeah.
And she also doesn't know anything else. She's never left.
Yeah, she literally says, I've never left home before.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, they only stay in Kansas for a hot minute. it's like, here's M, here's Henry, here's the farm. They all love each other. They're going into town and they'll be back. Enjoy some definitely pie. Because those animators knew what pie was. That was a fucking flan, and you know it.
I thought it was a pancake.
I don't know. It could have been a pancake. It looked like a flan to me.
It did have, like, the lattice marks on the top, but they put in minimum effort.
No effort. Oh, there was minimum money to make this movie. And that's part of the reason why I think they really focused on the characters and not the action is because they couldn't afford not to.
Yeah.
Because so much of this movie is a static shot and a mouth is open, and you hear just a fucking word vomit of dialogue from the character.
They also, especially Dorothy, sounds like they're fucking sprinting through this dialogue.
Dorothy, in the English language dub, was played by Eileen Quinn. Do you know what else she did in 1982?
No.
She was Annie.
Like...
Little Orphan Annie.
Oh my...
In Annie.
So, I've never seen the Annie movie.
But you know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
Like, the 80s one, not the 2005 one or whatever it was. Also, she's, like, from, like, Southeast Pennsylvania.
Sure. Why not?
Fine. Sure. But yeah, she was... That's such a thing. It's very early anime.
It looks like Speed Racer.
It does. Very cheaply done. As few cells as possible. Get it all out in words real quick. So you get the story there, and then when you can afford an action scene, do an action scene. And they did an action scene, and that was great.
The Kalidas, right?
No, I'm talking about the Witch's Castle.
Oh, yeah.
That was fucking awesome. But it feels very dated like that.
Yeah.
Which I didn't necessarily hate.
Yeah, it was almost like nostalgic in a weird way, but a different kind of nostalgia than like the 39.
Yeah. It felt like I had seen it before, and I wasn't sure when or where.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those weird things that would have been on PBS when you're at, like, that weird babysitter's house. You know?
Yes. Yeah, it was very... It felt very true to the story, and that, like, you were never actually concerned about any of the characters. There was nothing that was like, there's a moral here. It was just, we have an action that we need to complete, and we've completed the action, and now we get to go to the goal. And it feels like that was kind of what, if you remember way back to the beginning of our Wizard of Oz episode, the introduction by Baum, where he's talking about how he's removed the scariness from the fairy tale.
What's weird is, I mean, I know we watched the same movie. I was sitting next to you. I had the complete opposite read of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, first of all, it's the first time where I actually felt like... It's the first adaptation of this I've seen where I felt like the stakes were truly set. Because it's the first one that we watched where the wizard didn't dance around it and said, destroy the Witch of the West. And as they get to the castle, you see slaves. And this is the first one that did the fucking crow. Which it didn't just send crows. They Voltroned into a mega crow. And they beat it by setting it on fire.
Which he never communicates that to the Tin Woodman.
No, they just kind of understood what they were going to do. He heard oil and went, bet. Alright, I got you, fam.
And this is after he's just fucking decimated these magic wolves.
Yeah, which was also awesome.
Which, another weird thing is that you're following, like, almost to the letter, the page, but you don't do the bees. You skip the bees and you go straight to the flying monkeys.
That was rule of threes, though, because the wolves, crows, then the monkeys.
Yeah.
Bees would have felt like a downgrade from the fucking Voltron crow.
Yeah, it did. It does feel like a downgrade in the novel.
You know? So I understand that cut as well.
Yeah.
But not only did I feel like there were stakes, I felt like... What was the other part of that point you were making? About the story?
Oh.
There was something else in there that, like, I had the complete opposite read.
It felt like you were never worried about the characters. Like, they were always going to win.
That's true, but I still felt like... I actually wrote down, it feels like good pro wrestling. Where, like, even if you know the good guy's gonna win, you still kind of bite. And I never feel that watching the 1939 film. I didn't feel that watching the Muppets, and that was more because it was a comedy version. But this one, like, I felt like, oh, the characters really are in a tight spot. How are they going to get out of this?
Yeah.
Which, is weird to feel for the fucking Wizard of Oz, a story I've known my whole life.
Yeah, that's fair.
The other point I was going to make... Oh, about the cheapness. Oh, no, you were saying that it felt very much like, we're going to go here, we're going to go there, here's our goal, we're going to do the goal.
Yeah.
I felt like the movie had a thesis that was unrelated to the "it's good to be home" thesis that we always see as like the center point of the other ones.
Okay.
And I felt like the thesis of this version was you are who you are regardless of the labels put upon you.
Okay, you're gonna need to explain that.
So
how do you get this from
We
this?
spend so much time in that first half of the movie on the journey to Oz with these three characters that are not Dorothy, the non-Dorothy characters.
Yeah.
And each of them has moments where they explain, this is what I am, therefore, I do not have this. I am a scarecrow, therefore, I do not have brains. I must have brains. I am made of tin, therefore, I do not have a heart. I cannot love. And then the Cowardly Lion, I'm a little bitch, I guess. He didn't really have that moment. But as we continue, each of those characters shows that label, like, put upon them, or, like, being who they are doesn't make a difference. Because I think it's Scarecrow that has the idea to cut down the tree to cross that one ravine and get away from the evil, what are they called again?
Kalidas.
The Statler and Waldorfs. And when they step on God knows what, I think Toto just shit. Because it couldn't really tell. The animation's kind of shit.
I think that's the point, is it's supposed to look like it could be
a bug, it could be a leaf,
Yeah.
But he's so heartbroken over having possibly made a mistake that hurt somebody, he starts crying and rusting, which you said was from the book. And it's like, oh shit, that is him showing that, like, just because he doesn't have a physical heart doesn't make him incapable of love. He very clearly cares about everyone he meets. He loves everybody. And then the lion is usually the first to step up.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, it's like, oh, I was so scared. I'm such a coward. I'm such a little bitch. It's like, you were the first one in the action.
Yeah, I feel like this...
And like that kind of gets wrapped up at the end when the wizard reveals his secrets. And instead of gifting them things, he explains to them, like, you weren't a coward, you just don't have self-confidence. You are so fucking brave. And with brains, like, there are babies with brains. I'm not sure if that was from the book.
Yes, it is.
Okay, because it felt like a good line. And I don't trust the screenwriter to come up with his own good lines. But yeah, he's like, babies have brains, but they're fucking idiots because they're babies. You have wisdom, and that's more important. And then... hey, you've been showing your emotions on your sleeve this whole time. That's wonderful. Like, you don't need the physical heart. You've got emotions. You've got care. You are not heartless, And because it wasn't wrapped in punnery, and partly because the movie was fucking cheap and they couldn't afford a lot of animation, and you have all these characters explain their thoughts and feelings, like, I felt like they kind of leaned into it more. And the going home part was backburnered almost, at least to me, than, these characters coming to terms with who they are.
I wonder...
that they're not less than because they're different.
So one of the things we wanted to talk about with this, the reason you picked this adaptation, was that we wanted to see if there was a difference in cultural sensibility. Mm-hmm. And I kind of think there is here, because it's very sincere, like almost painfully earnest, in a way that, like... obviously, the Muppets wasn't, because that was straight up comedic.
Yeah, the Muppets was a parody, if anything.
Even the original is a little tongue-in-cheek sometimes. And I think that this adaptation is... you don't need to go deeper than the surface, because everything is on the surface. We are going to tell you exactly how we feel, and we are going to make sure you see exactly how we feel.
But also, like... yes, it's incredibly sincere, and I kind of loved that about it.
Yeah.
There was no veneer. There were songs, but, like, it wasn't like the 39 where we're going to do some exposition in song here, but it's going to be in that shitty mono recording, and you can't understand a word we're saying because it's all sped up because it's Munchkin singing, that you're going to be in your 30s when you understand what we're saying. It wasn't like that. Like, the songs were just montage. That was the third obstacle, was, like, that montage of obstacles.
Oh, you're
That's
right.
what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because there's only, like, 3 or 4 songs in this.
It was very...
and they're just vibe songs.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was very, like, let us just vibe here.
But the other side of the cultural conversation is how Japan treats kids. And I see it more as a respect of a kid's intelligence. Because, yeah, like, in the English dub, which we watched, is the only one available to us. Like, the songs were very saccharine, and the dialogue was very from the book and simple and for children. But the animation, which makes me think that the Japanese dialogue may not have been as, simplistic, because of things like setting the giant crow on fire. And when there's violence, there's violence. And they're not sugarcoating the danger that the characters are in, quite like they do in 39, and especially the Muppets. Like, you feel like the danger that the characters are in is real to them. You see the jungle cat. What's this thing called? Kalidas.
Yes.
I don't know. This is new to me.
Bear with the head of
You
a tiger.
see that thing fucking fall into a ravine and die.
And
that's in the first
bounces off
20
the wall.
minutes. Fucking straight Homer Simpson's its way down there. Like, the combat in the castle was, like, they're getting, like, tied up, and she's fucking doing magic at them and shit, and it's crazy. The wolves were bursting into flame.
That's because they were magic wolves, so you didn't see dead wolves.
But still.
So first of all, I do think it's interesting that the crow and the wolves are essentially both burned, whereas the witch is melted. But that was just an interesting contrast that I saw. But I do also think, do you remember that show that we were watching on Netflix called, I think, Old Enough?
Yeah.
Which, if you're not familiar, I don't think, it's not a Netflix original. I think it's on, like, Japanese TV. But basically, it's kids doing their first errand. And when I say kids, I mean, I think the youngest kid on the show is literally 2 years old. And her errand is, like, going downstairs from the restaurant she works at to get her grandfather for lunch.
The restaurant her mom works at.
Yes.
Not her. They're not putting her to work at 2 years old.
Correct. But, like, it's this idea of when you're in a community, it's safe to have your kid experience some independence. And I feel like that kind of shows through here, because at the beginning of the movie, Aunt Em and Uncle Henry just fuck off to town and leave Dorothy alone on the farm. And there's, like, no expectation of when they'll be back. They'll just say, we'll be back soon. So it's not like, hey, American kids, your mom's gonna be back at 5 p.m. It's very, like, latchkey almost.
It's like, what's gonna happen to her? She knows about the dangers of the farm, which are, wild animals. And apparently cyclones. Like, yes. She knows where the storm shelter is as soon as the tornado hits.
Yeah. And
that's very, like you said, old enough.
Yeah, and it's also very, which actually lands in Oz, nobody treats her as a child. They treat her, like, as relatively independent and functional on her own.
Well, she entered killing Mussolini and is tasked with killing Hitler, so I don't think they want to fuck with her, really. Anti-fascist queen, Dorothy Gale.
Yeah, it's interesting, because it's one of those things where it's like, if you watched it, obviously you can tell because of, like, the animation design, etc., but, like, there's a certain level, like, at the base level, the base assumptions that each character makes about each other, there's a level of just, like, you can tell this wasn't made by Americans.
Yeah. There's no American sensibility. Like, when she first describes where she's from as Kansas in the United States of America, it's like, oh, that was written by a Japanese man.
I mean, to be fair, they clearly don't recognize what she's talking about in Oz.
True. Yeah, speaking of dialogue, I noticed a pattern started to approach. And Dorothy's 3 traveling companions each say one thing that, out of context, if this movie wasn't so sincere, would be very sinister to Dorothy Gale.
Yes.
First, when it's just her and the Scarecrow, and they need to rest for the night in this abandoned barn, she curls up and says, "Scarecrow, aren't you tired?" And he says, "I never sleep." Right before this little girl goes to bed, with this strange man next to her, who never sleeps. The next day, they meet the Tin Woodman, and of course they must, grease his jaw so he can speak. He is rusted shut. And once he can speak, one of the first things he says to, again, this literal child is, "Could you oil me all over, please, miss?" Now, it takes our cowardly lion a little longer to get on the score sheet, but he finds a time. And it happens to be right as I think she's getting thrown from a tower in the castle. And there's an unfortunate upskirt shot because Japan. And Cowardly Lion yells, "I'm coming!" And it's not made much better that after she clicks her heels 3 times and wishes to return to Kansas and starts spinning in the magic, the last thing she says that her new friends hear is, "Take me, take me, take me." There's an old Tumblr post, I think, that every company should have one 15-year-old boy in the room. Just, if they laugh, you don't even need to know why, change it.
Yep. There's some decisions being made in this movie.
Again, I think it was just, like, sincerity. If it helps the English language, most of the actors were Canadian, which makes me think it was probably a Canadian production.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I didn't actually obviously didn't do any research.
I'm just realizing, is there a single adaptation of this where Dorothy has a southern accent? Because she certainly does it in the 39.
I was just saying, Garland has some kind of accent, but if anything, it's transatlantic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's definitely not Kansas.
Yeah. She definitely doesn't have one here, and I'm glad they didn't try.
Yeah, you're correct.
It's actually only aired on TV originally in the US, as well as in Japan, but in Eastern Europe, this aired in theaters.
You know, this actually does have kind of an Eastern European vibe.
It's got a Eurojank to it.
Yeah.
Apparently the only DVD version is in Polish.
Yup.
Which, yeah, it's got some fucking Eurojank to it. Because I bet this would have kicked off like crazy in 1993 the Iron Curtain's falling.
I feel like it was probably one of those movies that was so cheap to make, it was probably pretty cheap to distribute, so it was probably within reach of people in those areas. And also, I mean, it's the Wizard of Oz. How it can't possibly be objectionable. There's literally nothing objectionable about it.
Yeah. It was probably part of the reason why it was so cheap was it was Toho's first animated film.
Okay.
And the other studio involved, Topcraft, worked with Rankin Bass prior. So that's why it's not quite as Japanese looking as you expect, which is why it feels Eurojank. Because it doesn't feel American animation, but it doesn't feel Japanese animation either.
You saying Rankin Bass actually makes a lot of sense, because it does have that also, like, claymation feel. Like, the vibe of those, like, Christmas movies.
Yeah, very dialogue heavy. Yeah. Because the fewer frames of animation, the more affordable it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I can slot that. I definitely get it, like, slotting this in right there with, like, The Year Without a Santa Claus and shit.
Yeah, like, I'm surprised this didn't... I mean, I don't know how much TV play this got when we were growing up after its premiere, but I'm surprised it didn't get a lot, because it had to have been cheap to distribute, too.
Yeah.
You mentioned that Dorothy looked like Alice when it first started?
Dorothy looked like Alice. Toto looked like the Scottish Terrier from fucking Lady and the Tramp.
Oh no, it had come out.
It had, yeah.
But, the Alice design, or the Dorothy design, is ripped from an Alice in Wonderland that Topcraft did with Rankin Bass prior.
That makes sense.
I did love the designs of the Scarecrow and Tin Man. I mean, the lion's just a lion.
Yeah, when Scarecrow appeared on screen, I literally went, Turnip Head? From Howl's Moving Castle?
Like, low-key fucking loved the design. And that's an advantage you get with doing this animated like that.
Yeah.
Is you can play around with how the characters look and make them inhuman. So that's why the lion's just a lion, because he can be.
Yeah.
And Tin Man kind of looked like a neckbeard.
Yes. He had a very distinctive, like, shape.
But also, I loved how, like, mellow he was as well. And I fucking loved the Wicked Witch of the West design.
She was, like, classic. She almost looked like a cross between the Horned King from Black Cauldron, which had not come out yet, and the original Evil Queen from Snow White. Like, those kind of influences.
Yeah. It was such a cool design. No green skin.
Yeah.
No, like, pressure to appeal to anything. It was just, like, a really fucking cool, scary witch lady.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I fucking loved that. You caught this during the intro scene. Were Em and Henry burying somebody? During the opening credits?
It really looks like they were. It might have been a pile of manure or a pile of hay, but it really
Or Mr. and Mrs. Gale.
Like, the way that they're standing they're standing in that way that's like characters in deep contemplation or grief, where they were facing each other over what looks like a hole.
I love the implication that Dorothy's parents just died, but she loves Kansas and she's happy to be there.
Yeah, man, I don't know.
I will say, right after she sees the wizard for the first time, and she breaks down in tears in Scarecrow's arms, because like it's all coming to a head that she has to take another life today to get home, and like she breaks down. That's like the most emotional moment in any of these scenes that I've seen. Like I actually felt something there. And I don't think I felt something during a Wizard of Oz movie before.
I think it's because for the rest of the movie, she's relatively, like, upbeat and cheerful, whereas with the 39, Dorothy's, like, immediately frantic and energetic, and she's up and down and laughing and crying and...
Yeah. And she's, like, in the 39, she's a little shit. But here, she's just, like... She's just, like, a good, kind girl who's like, I'm in this situation, and I would like to not be in this situation anymore, please. And then... she comes face to face with what she must do, and it's murder. She fucking breaks down and cries, and she's like, I just want to go home. And it's like, oh my god, that's so real. Like, there's real emotion in that performance. Like, I kind of liked that moment.
And then on the other side, you've got when they do melt the witch, and she just goes, yay!
That's right. Arms in the air. Like, you see the melting effect was so cheap. It was just... shrinking the cell in the puddle of water, and she's like, I'm melting, and the voice gets higher and stuff, which I like that effect of it. And then like it cuts to Dorothy and I think Tin Man, and it's like a beat of nothing, and then just yay! Arms in the air, big hug.
Yeah.
But then you see like the clouds roll out and the sun comes out and chains dissolve off of slaves, and then you see the town celebrating. It's like, oh my god, she killed Hitler. She went and fucking did it.
Yes.
And then she's rightfully mad at the wizard. Because she's like, I went and killed a bitch for you. And he's like, how do you expect me to believe that? Because he doesn't ask for proof.
He does not.
He just says destroyer.
Yeah. Something, again, going back to the cheapness, I don't think there's a single pattern in this movie. Everything is a solid color.
Yep.
Because I'm thinking about when Glinda...
cheaper to paint, baby.
When Glinda appears... she's all
hot.
Purple.
Oh, yeah.
Dorothy, she doesn't have a gingham pattern. She's just the blue and the white.
Which probably is why she looked like fucking Alice.
Yeah.
That and the blonde hair. Although I know Japanese people love giving Americans blonde hair.
Yeah.
I know that from the Yakuza games. Fucking the American villain of 3 is just a blonde dude named Richardson.
I mean, the not American villain is also blonde. Or is that in 2? That's 2.
That's one of the secret Koreans, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Koreans also. But they dye their hair blonde. Americans are all natural.
Fair.
Although they made Emma ginger. And Henry was just your dad.
Yes. Henry was literally my dad. Oh. This was fun to watch.
Yeah.
I think I had more fun watching this than I did the Muppets one.
Which is weird, because the Muppets one is like, we're the Muppets, here's jokes and Muppet comedy. But this was just fun to watch. Yeah. And we were making our own jokes, because, like, it had plenty of downtime for us. Even though it was only 77 minutes long, there was plenty of downtime for us to crack jokes between dialogue.
Yeah, I don't know how they struck the pacing that they did.
I think it was perfect for kids.
Yeah.
Like, dead ass, I had so much fun.
Do you know what it feels like? It feels like an episode of an anime that is, like, either the first episode of the series, which is always 2 episodes, so it's an hour long, or, like, when they cram the movie in and you know that nothing that happens in the movie is canon and it's all going to be back to normal when you watch the next week.
Yeah. Did the music do anything for you?
It got stuck in my fucking head.
So, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of his name. 1 second. I believe it's pronounced Joe Hisaishi was the composer. Oh, you recognize his name?
Yes!
What film of his do you recognize? Was it Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind? Was it Lupita, Castle in the Sky? Was it My Neighbor Totoro? Was it Kiki's Delivery Service? Was it Porco Rosso? Was it Princess Mononoke? Was it Spirited Away? Was it Howl's Moving Castle? Was it Ponyo? Was it Princess Kaguya? Was it The Boy and the Heron, Cody? Which of those movies did you recognize him from?
You know what? This movie reminds me of Ponyo.
Yeah!
It's very Ponyo.
Yeah, very it lives in the same like realm as Totoro and Ponyo do.
Like, Wizard of a Day is up there with Ponyo, 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 she's a little fish.
I don't even know what the actual lyrics are of that.
Yeah,
I've only seen it the one time.
Yep.
But yeah, same fucking dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad I told you not to look anything up, because your face when I said that was
just like, okay, Joe. I get ads for his fucking concerts in LA.
Oh my, of course you do. I know what you listen to at work.
I'm in shared space now, I stopped.
So, speaking of music, every single adaptation that we've watched so far has been a musical. A couple musical numbers here and there, a few more in the 39, a few less in the 82. But what if they wanted to do a full 70s musical with The Wizard of Oz? And also, this was a really, like, by-the-book adaptation. Muppets stretched a bit, but not too much. What if we really separated from the source material and went with vibes? What if we do 1978's The Wiz, directed by Sidney Lumet? Is it Lumet or Lumet?
I'm not sure. As you're pulling up the trailer, just a quick anecdote. My high school wanted to do a production of The Wiz. You may recognize that there's a problem with that.
Is it all the honkies at your high school?
Sure was. It got to the selection process and immediately got crossed off because we did not have enough people to do that play.
We, in college, before you got there, we briefly had Hairspray on the list. Same problem. We had someone who could have played, like, the main black character in that, but we didn't have the supporting cast.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Off the list. I was going to say, wasn't that immediately after y'all did Fences?
2 years later, yeah.
Okay.
The fun part of that was, like, when they had the big meeting to decide shows, and that was shortlisted, part of what they would do is go, who's here now that could play these roles conceivably, so we know we can at least do it with what we got, regardless of what freshmen come in, and my name was next to Link. Which is a source of pride for me. I was also penciled in to play, not Melchior, the other guy in Spring Awakening. We were supposed to do that one year too.
I'm gonna reveal...
Hans Strufel or something? I don't remember. It's been close to 20 years. Anyway, digression aside, we're gonna do The Miz. Part of the reason... Fuck.
I mean, I'm sure Mike Mizanin would love to guest on our podcast.
Listen, we are like 2.5 hours into this episode now. It's been a very long day. We haven't slept.
We've just been watching adaptations.
It's 7 hours with you.
Oh, the horror.
Oh, no. Part of the reason why I wanted to do The Wiz is because someone who loves me got me the Broadway cast recording LP and the Criterion Blu-ray of the Broadway play and film.
Wow, that must have been someone that loves you a whole lot.
Sure must have been. Don't know who it could have been. Certainly not one of my two co-hosts. Maybe it was Toby.
Toby, did you get Daddy a present?
He's waiting for his presents. So, yeah, anyway. Next we're going to do 78's The Wiz. Here is a trailer.
All performances are sold out.
All across the country, they're lining up on the yellow brick road. The Wiz is...
Fabulous. Marvelous.
The Wiz is...
Wonderful.
Great. This is the best move I've seen.
The Wiz is...
Really good.
Funny. Exciting.
It was beautiful.
The Wiz. It's joy. It's laughter. It's music. It's here. The Wiz. Rated G.
Now showing exclusively at the Midland Theater in Dolby Stereo.
I just want to, like, start singing. He's on down the road.
I wonder if that's going to be in the trailer.
He's on down. It better fucking be. That song's a goddamn banger. But while you, our audience, what? Is that grammar?
Yeah. Audience is singular.
Okay, listen. We've been recording for 45 straight hours now. We haven't moved. I have to pee so bad.
That's what the bottle is for.
But while you, our audience, were listening, that's why I felt wrong, because you was the subject. While you, our audience, I did it again. While y'all were listening to that trailer, Cody and I sat down and we watched the entirety of Sidney Lumet's 1978 film, The Wiz.
Which I believe neither of us had seen before.
Neither of us had seen. However, My sister and I used to do a dance step at weddings that we referred to as the Wiz and is in this movie. And I don't think she's seen it either.
I'm still shocked you didn't bring that up on our Perks episode.
That my sister and I used to do that dance at weddings?
You had a choreographed dance that you would make eye contact with each other and it had a
It
name.
wasn't like a thing. We would do the one step 2 or 3 times and then like everyone would go, oh my god, they're doing the thing!
But
and
you
then
didn't think that tied into the living room routine at all?
No, because that's different. Because ours was literally one step and then everyone would go, oh my god, they're doing the step, and then we would laugh and then move on.
Alright, I've mocked your sibling relationship enough.
At least I had a sibling I danced with. You and your sister probably.
I was the baby.
So anyway, The Wiz is based off a Broadway musical that is based on The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Hint, hint for next episode.
I think we've jumped the shark on that
It's
one.
okay. And while the last 2 we talked about stuck pretty close to the book, especially that Toho one, this one recontextualizes the entire story through the lens of Black America. Now, we are 2 honkies.
If we have not made that abundantly clear at this point.
The hunk is real. But...
I mean, what episode did we have the discussion on Vibes? Was it Big Sleep?
Vibes was Big Sleep.
I feel like this is in that realm, but it's still really grounded in terms of the story. I think it succeeded in capturing the vibes of The Wizard of Oz better than the Big Sleep movie captured the vibes of the Big Sleep novel.
It does what so many high school and college productions of things do poorly, which was take the well-known story and stick it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, like, the structure, the journey that the characters take, and their names are all the same, obviously. They, Dorothy lands in Oz, kills a witch, is told to find the wizard, told to kill another witch, kills another witch, finds out the wizard's a phony, clicks the heels together, fucks off back home. Meets some friends along the way, they grow as characters, yada, yada, yada. However...
I was gonna say, like the Tin Man, it's the same shell with a different polish.
Exactly. Dorothy, for the first time in our series, is not a little girl. She's a 24-year-old kindergarten teacher in Harlem, I believe?
Yes.
And it's not a cyclone, it's a blizzard that whisks her off to Oz. And Oz is just a parallel dimension New York. Like, the wizard canonically lives in the World Trade Center. He's up in the 2 towers barking orders.
I'm not gonna say anything about that. Just gonna let that sit.
All I'm gonna say is the Wicked Witch of the West must have had some admirers in the East.
The Middle East?
So Dorothy's played by Diana Ross.
Yeah.
Scarecrow is Michael Jackson. And we're not gonna talk about it. Nipsey Russell is the Tin Man. And it's, was it Todd Ross? Was the name of the Cowardly Lion?
No relation to Diana Ross. They just happen to have the same last name.
And the Wiz himself played by Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the biggest differences are just the New York of it all. Everything's, for lack of a better term, urbanized. So Munchkin Land is a playground.
Yeah.
Where the Wicked Witch of the East she worked for Parks and Rec, City Parks and Rec.
She was the Parks Department,
and punished the kids for their graffiti by making them graffiti.
Yeah.
So her introduction to Oz is, landing in this playground and children peel off the walls and start dancing at her. Terrifying.
She lands specifically in a sandbox, which it took me way too long to realize what it was.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I did not get that at all.
I think Miss One is the Wicked Witch, I keep saying Wicked, the Good Witch of the North.
Yes.
And she is like a numbers game person.
She runs the local lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think that's something we've touched on before in our Irishman episode.
I believe we did. The Tin Man is found at, what you pointed out was probably Black Coney Island.
Yeah.
Which was an amusement park that, shut down, and he was a carnival barker trapped underneath his, fourth wife?
Yes, his fourth wife.
Who is Teeny, a very large sculpture of a woman.
Yeah.
The Cowardly Lion is the lion statue in front of the library.
Yep.
Scarecrow is just, Scarecrow. Except we meet the crows.
Yes.
Which I really liked that dynamic of getting introduced to him with the crows and establishing the power dynamic there of he just believes, or he doesn't want to believe what they say about him, but they keep saying things and he just goes along with it because what else can he do?
Yeah, I really like that it wasn't explicit that the quote-unquote bad guys were tied to Eveline, the Wicked Witch of the West, but it becomes clear later. Like, it's not explicit at the time they're doing their foul deeds, but it becomes clear later that they are when they show up in her sweatshop.
Yeah, literally a sweatshop.
Yes.
Just a walking OSHA violation, this woman.
Yes.
Who dies by getting literally flushed down a toilet.
Yes.
Which, great. The poppy fields aren't so much a poppy fields as what looks like a parking lot rave that goes awry.
Yeah, it's closer to... Honestly, it's closer to the Muppets version, where it's like a nightclub, kind of.
It has that vibe because of all the neon and the drugs.
Yeah.
The... Kaliveris. Kalidas.
Yes.
The Kalidas, it wasn't explicit, but that subway scene.
Yeah.
Where creepy, I guess is that what, was he selling shit on the subway? Was that dude's vibe?
He's supposed to be like a subway.
Because it's a little different now. They just operate out of backpacks now, but he had like the tray in front of him and some like lanterns that grew to full human size.
Yeah.
Which was terrifying, and then it got worse when the pillars in the subway started ripping out of the ground and chasing Dorothy around.
The trash cans.
The trash can mimics.
Yeah.
They were, like, that whole sequence was fucking trippy and cool, and would have been terrifying in a horror movie.
Yeah, there were a lot of things done with, like, imagery and symbolism in this movie. Like... The Scarecrow is made of trash. So, like, his character design is his body is stuffed with old newspapers. And so he keeps pulling out bits of those papers and reading appropriate quotes. Or inappropriate quotes in the terms of the lion.
I believe the last time he does it, like, he normally does it just on his own, and it's a quote that fits. And then when Dorothy asks him to do it, it's the last time he does it. And he pulls out a quote and it's just like, showers expected tomorrow.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do it after that, but the end during that finale that made me cry. He gives like this really like heartfelt speech, and Dorothy's like, "Who says that?" And he just tear in his eye, "Me."
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, look at the moment this character got to have.
The Tin Man, I'm pretty sure he's made of oil cans. I think that's a thing.
Yeah.
His bits are great because he is just like Carnival Barker energy.
His "Oil Me Up Fam" song.
Yes.
Was
very fun and
spectacular.
Charming. You pointed out there's like a minute where they're all dancing and there's no cutting.
Sidney Lumet knows when you're doing a song and dance movie to let the songs and the dance and not the movie. You know, like there are so many points in this movie where he just sets the camera and he just lets the scene happen for a while. And usually it's these big choreographed numbers with 50, 75, 100 extras on this massive set with the lights going and the dance is going, and it's like, we don't need to cut to everyone's faces. We're showing that, oh my god, we choreographed all of this and this is real.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the Oz scenes yet. When we get to the Emerald City,
Yeah.
I keep saying Oz, the whole thing is in fucking Oz, the Emerald City. When we get to the Emerald City, everybody's in green and they're singing a song about how great green is, and then a big alarm goes off, and it's a traffic light, and the voice of Oz booms out and it says, green is so yesterday, let's go ahead and do red. And then the lights change and everybody's in red and they're singing a song about how red is the perfect color. And then it happens again. And it's like 2 minutes-ish. And then he's like, you know what? You guys are wearing pink and red was already dead to me. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make it gold. And then everybody switches and they're in gold. And it's, again, these massive dance sequence with multiple singers and multiple dancers. Like, it's 100 people at some points.
Easily 100 people in one of the shots.
Yeah.
Because the shot held long enough that I was like, all right, that group there's about 10, and there's like 3 groups that size in the background. So there's 30 people right there. And then you've got these 20 people in front doing the choreography. And then the camera starts swinging, and there's more fucking people.
Yeah. And then later, when we get to the Wicked Witch of the West, if you've seen Hadestown, when it gets to the point in Hadestown where they're in Hades, where they're in hell, so similar to that. The heat and the mechanical sounds and the way that everything vibes, very similar to Hadestown.
Except this was with, like, an incredible alto and not a shitty tenor.
Hey.
That was just the guy we saw, I'm sure.
No, the guy, Hades himself was an incredible, like, bass.
He was. You're right. I was just, Orpheus, is that the character?
Yes.
Couldn't fucking stand that guy. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, that...
He was, and this is specifically the production we saw, like, 4 years ago. It was just, like, I don't know. That actor was not the right choice for that role, in my opinion.
Yeah, the choice of Orpheus singing was a little funky.
Yeah. Anyway, back to The Wiz.
Yes. It also had vibes of Us because of all the red and the masks.
Oh yeah, and then when they flush the Wicked Witch, and everyone quote unquote evil, although we know they're not evil, they're just, enslaved or tools of the Wicked Witch. They all have crazy, like, masks on that are, you pointed out, were racist caricatures.
Yeah, I don't know the specific piece of art they're referencing, but even the character design of Eveline, it's like a very specific piece of art that I can think of. I want to say it was an advertisement. It's a little black girl with the, like, crazy hair and the horrible face design and the red, like, dress. I'm pretty sure that design was aping that artwork, and there's the characters that are in this sweatshop are all in these, like, horrible racist caricatures, and then they unzip them and remove them, and they're skivvies.
They're just in, like, yellow bikinis, basically.
Yeah, and they're just regular people.
Literally singing Free at Last, Free at Last.
Yeah!
Now, when we get to the spoilers of The Bride, there's also a very pointed turn of phrase in that movie, which is, about 10 years after the movement, so yeah, okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm okay keeping all of that spoiler cast in at the end of this episode, then. It fits. Yeah. We got it to the link. But yeah, I noticed, because this was about 10 years after In the Heat of the Night, and when we talked about In the Heat of the Night, we talked about how... What's his fucking last name? Poitier. I kept wanting to say Sidney Lumet, because that's the director of The Wiz. Sidney Poitier. How he was the one black star. And how he had to, like, be perfect and shit, because he represented black people in Hollywood. And we briefly talked about following that was the blaxploitation era, where the main characters went from Mr. Tibbs to Shaft. And this, like, violent retribution kind of arc that black characters were going through for a while. And a lot of those movies were made cheaply. Not all of them, but a lot of them were. And then seeing this, knowing it was following that movement in film of this massive budget, these massive sets, all these actors, and all of them are black. And just imagining what it must have been like for a black audience to sit down in 78 and see themselves be the main character of this famous story. But the story has changed to reflect their experiences.
Yeah.
Like, that had to have been awesome.
Yeah. Like, imagine the first time when you were a little kid and you watched a movie and you just saw yourself in that main character.
Cody, I'm a white man. That happened the first movie I saw.
If you're not a white man.
Thank you.
Also, you're not a man. What are you talking about?
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Like, I remember being 6 or 7 years old and watching Beauty and the Beast and just being like, oh, this girl likes to read and she wants to protect her dad and she's gonna stay in this castle and, like, she has this whole library and she's everything, etc.
And you're gonna marry a beast.
It's not what I'm getting at. But, like, there's that click. And I'm just imagining the generation of little black girls that got to grow up on The Wiz and Diana Ross and just be like, hey, I can be Dorothy. Because, I mean, we talked about with Margaret Hamilton. in the original Wizard of Oz, like, even when she was growing up, she never saw herself as Dorothy.
Yeah.
But, like, this is a generation where girls, and I said little girls, but I mean, like, up to 24.
Hey,
even older.
Yeah, like...
Seeing yourself...
And it's not just black girls, although it's very important. But, like, every character has that moment of finding themselves in this movie.
Yeah.
And we talked about in the first one, and the last section when we talked about Toho and all that, the, like, moral of the original story that we both kind of didn't agree with. And oh my god, the way they handled that at the end of this, where she has that monologue saying, like, well, you gotta find your home. Home isn't a place. Home is where you feel safe.
Glinda specifically
Glinda
says
that, yes. Sorry.
And then Dorothy has the song. And
then she has that amazing song, which I was struggling through most of her numbers through most of this film. And it's an intentional decision, I believe, by the director.
Yeah.
Or probably whoever wrote the book, to make her songs more meek at the beginning. Because she ends with that being alive at the end of Company moment. She ends with that banger of a song where Diana Ross just gets to go sing with her full fucking chest directly down the lens of the camera. And I got, like, fucking chills. I got goosebumps. Because it was like, oh my god, she's using her whole voice. That's the point, is that she waited that long in the movie to do that. I just don't like that decision, because I didn't like her songs earlier because of that.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those things where it's like, it's kind of like, Tracy Turnblad in Hairspray has that really annoying nasal warble, and that is 100% a character choice.
Yeah.
But I don't like it.
It's not quite as bad as that, because it's not like...
Yeah.
It's not that she's grating when she's singing, it's that, like...
It's like, I know you got more in there.
Yeah, I want to hear it. And ditto when Michael Jackson first appears, his first number, he's still up on the pole.
Yes.
And I'm like, you've got Michael Jackson here, and you're not even letting him dance right away.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure you leaned over to me, you said, imagine introducing Michael Jackson in your movie, and he is literally incapable of dancing.
And then, of course, like, he's off the pole, and then he gets wobbly leg for a while, and then he fucking jams.
I was gonna say
Ease on Down the Road.
I was gonna say, with Ease on Down the Road, like, he builds up to the wobbling turns into dancing.
Yeah, but it's the same arc told through dance for him.
Yeah.
As he's finding his feet, so to speak. Metaphorically, he literally finds his dancing feet.
Yeah.
And as she grows throughout the film, she finds her singing voice.
Yeah.
And, like, I appreciate the craft there. It just led to, like, slight pacing issues for me towards the beginning. I was like, oh, she's got another song? Ugh. I think you, like, went to go get more food when she sang the first time.
Yes, I did. I got more beverage.
Craft-wise, though, so the original 39 had the sepia tone into Technicolor for Oz, right?
Yeah.
And it felt like even the Muppets one did something similar. Like, everything was kind of, like, digitally gray until she goes to Oz, and then it stayed colored when she got back.
Yeah.
This one didn't do anything odd in Harlem. But when they get to Oz, almost every set had, like, glow-in-the-dark paint used somewhere. And black lights somewhere. So the whole set kind of glowed. It was like the beginning of the 70s Superman movie when they're on Krypton and everyone's wearing super reflective clothing, has a very distinct visual look. It reminded me of that. Because even her shoes seemed to be wrapped in that material and they, like, were emitting light.
Yeah.
It was a really cool effect. And I loved the use of color and light in that way in Oz for this version to establish that it's a different, universe.
Something interesting that I think they did with her shoes as well is that her shoes matched the pattern of the cobblestones. It's a really...
Yes!
It's a really subtle hint that the shoes are like a way to travel too,
Yeah. Oh my god, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
That's really good observation, Cody.
Thank you. Sometimes I have them. But yeah,
you had a lot of good observations tonight, actually.
The character design and the world design. Every world feels unique, but they all feel tied together.
Like, that playground set was fucking awesome.
The playground set was incredible with all of the graffiti. I think that's, like, the most aggressive the blacklight is.
Yeah, and the poppy fields as well. It's real aggressive. They also have all that neon there.
Yeah.
But I was picking up on it in the sweatshop as well. But, like, the red paint doesn't pop as much, but it was still giving, like, an eerie glow.
Yeah.
I loved the look of it. And it helped that someone who cares about me for Christmas got me the fucking 4K Criterion disc of this, so it looked incredible.
We were seeing stuff we were not supposed to see.
Like, we were getting distracted by, like, a leaf blowing on the yellow brick road during the first Ease on Down the Road that, like, no one would have noticed if it weren't, like, this pristine looking. So it was just a real joy to look at.
Yeah, it was... Visually, it was a feast.
Yeah. The problem with good movies, though, is there's less to talk about with them.
Yeah.
Like, damn, that was good. See it. Sorry, Mark, I know you didn't like it, but...
Yeah, we were talking briefly, like, as it ended, as we were setting up, and I think we both came to the conclusion that we kind of prefer this one to the 39?
I think I do. Yeah.
It feels like it deals with the themes in a more mature way, and I mean, part of that is it had 50 years to marinate, and...
You aged up the main character to an adult, so you can explore adult stories with her.
Yeah, and also, like, we are adults, and... I think I really like the choice they made to make the wizard absolutely pathetic.
Oh, he gets nothing. Like, the biggest kindness she shows him once she learns the truth about who the Wiz is. What was his name? Herman?
Yes.
From Atlantic City. Once she learns the truth, the biggest kindness she offers him is telling him, leave this room and find yourself. And then when she's saying her tearful goodbyes, like, she leaves him hanging. He's got his hand out, and she just ignores him.
Yep.
Because he was a liar and a phony.
And she knows that, like, because she had this exact conversation with her aunt at the beginning. And so she knows there's a level that you can push, and there's also a level that you can pull. Because as herself, she's pulling back, and she knows when she's on the wizard side of the conversation, she knows that if she pushes, he's gonna retract even more. And the best thing she can do is just kind of let it be and ignore him.
Yeah. It was this nice, subtle touch.
Yeah. And he also is just like, he looks like he's gonna dissolve into a puddle as soon as she leaves.
Yeah.
He's so scared.
Yeah, Richard Pryor is great in this. He's only in it for like a scene and a half.
Yeah, but he's great.
He does that monologue. There were 2 monologues in this that I thought would be great monologues for actors for auditions. And one was his, where he's explaining how he was running for dog catcher and got in his balloon to throw his leaflets out, and he does a pratfall in the middle. And the other was the lion, when he leads them to the poppy fields and he takes the blame for Dorothy's demise and is crying to the heavens and getting ready to jump off the building. Like, he has a great moment.
It's very Shakespearean.
Yeah, but also, like, funny because it's a little bit out of place.
I think this movie manages to be sincere and earnest while also keeping in the comedy elements, which I think is what was missing in the Toho. Because the Toho felt a little flat, and obviously that was for children.
Yeah.
And this isn't necessarily for children, but
it also wasn't a pure comedy like Muppets was.
Yeah.
It had funny moments, but like I said, I was tearing up towards the end.
Yeah.
Because it hit me.
I think it reaches depths of emotion that the 39 wasn't allowed to.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the novel was, 20, 25 years old when they were working on adapting it. Mm-hmm. Maybe even a little bit older than that.
It was like 39.
Yeah.
When that one came out.
Yeah.
But, like, almost every aspect of this, like, from a technical standpoint, I would say is better than the 39. And part of that is time.
Yeah.
But the sets are bigger and more elaborate. The colors pop more when they need to pop. The costumes look great. I thought the performances were great. I thought the songs were great. The only problem is Somewhere Over the Rainbow is fucking iconic.
Yeah.
And we're off to see the wizard is an earworm like a motherfucker.
Yeah. I do think Ease on Down the Road is also an earworm.
Ease on Down the Road slaps.
And then, of course, the Diana Ross Powler ballad at the end.
Yeah. And Don't Tell Me No Bad News.
Yeah, that's a great villain
song. The Wicked
song.
Witches song. I want to have like a button that plays the chorus of that in my office. So when people call and, hey, can I talk to you for a second? I don't want no bad news.
I do think that... Shit, what was my point? Oh, we talked about, like, the Munchkins in 39, how it was kind of groundbreaking that they found and cast all of those little people. I think it's kind of the same here, but it's less exploitative.
Yeah, because they shot it all in New York.
Yeah.
So I know they thanked, I wish I caught the name, might have been like the Lincoln Center dance troupe or something, but like they grabbed a bunch of local artists from New York. They filmed it in Astoria.
I was going to say, they went to Harlem and said, "Can you dance? Get in here."
They just went to a block party and started playing some music and just watched and waited. But
yeah.
no, I loved the representation in this movie because none of it was stereotypical either.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's not a single white face.
No. Even though it was directed by a white man and written by Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, what the fuck?
What the fuck? What are you doing here, Joel?
Don't you have a Batman movie to make?
Did he also do scenic design? Because it looked a little Batman and Robin at times.
I am fascinated now to see, like, I am 100% sure that Jordan Peele saw this movie and wanted to pull from the Eveline Sweatshop for the characters in Us. Because the mask and the red is so just like, it's so there. I mean, the Joel Schumacher, the graffiti in the dark, that absolutely feels like Batman. Like, this movie feels like it has kind of leaked into the pop culture consciousness, similarly to Wizard of Oz, but, it just had a little bit less time.
I'm not sure it's quite in the pop culture yet. It should be.
Yeah.
It should be. And unfortunately, the Michael Jackson of it all is probably going to prevent that from happening, just in general. Which is unfortunate, because I think this film is worth seeing. Regardless of...
I mean, his performance is... He's a fucking baby.
He's, 20?
He was 20 when this movie came out, which means he was 19 or 20 when it was filming.
Yeah.
He is an infant. And he's doing a great job. And he's, like, very charming.
Yeah.
And...
But also that dance, man. He can fucking go.
He sure can.
That guy can fucking dance.
Yeah. They easily could have slotted him into any of the roles. I get why they put him in as Scarecrow, because he has the most screen time.
Yep. Same as Kermit the Frog,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's good. See it. It's definitely the longest. I think it's
like 2 hours 15.
I was going to say, it's even longer than the OG, right?
The OG, I think, is like an hour 40, hour 45.
Yeah. This is worth it. This is, I think, more enjoyable.
I had a great time watching this one.
It's interesting because I think, like, in the original, they had, vaudeville actors as the characters. And so, the Lion got that extra song to play up his vaudeville shit. It feels like they did that more with Tin Man. Because Tin Man gets, the dance number that I don't think anybody else is kind of featured in that same way.
Not quite, no. The Oil Me Up?
Yeah, he has the two songs. It's the Oil Me Up song, and then he immediately after that...
Oh yeah, he has that, like, dance number. I consider that part of the same song.
Yeah. It's kind of like the extended part. Because, I mean, the Cowardly Lion has his song when he appears, but, like, Scarecrow also has his song when he appears, and then he's in Ease on Down the Road.
Yeah, which they all are, that,
eventually,
reprises. Yeah. We're off to see the wizard of this film.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, like... Because now that we've watched, 3 very different interpretations and adaptations of that work, like, how do we wrap this up? Because I feel like I definitely found a lot more depth to the story watching these adaptations, especially The Wiz, than I ever get watching The 39. And I don't know if that's a symptom of having seen The 39, like, 150 times in the last 35 years, or that there really was a lack of depth in that version, and that storytelling in film had gotten deeper by the 80s or the 70s and 80s for The Wiz and the Toho and whatnot.
Both things can be true, because so much culture... I mean, The 39 came out... The novel was written before both World Wars.
Yeah.
And, the Spanish flu pandemic. So the world was already... And the 39 came out after World War I, but during, like, in the build-up to World War II.
Before the U.S. got involved in the Second World War, yeah.
Yeah, and then you now have this coming out in the wake of the civil rights movement and...
like, it's a direct response.
Vietnam, I think, had already happened, or the Korean War had already happened, and Vietnam was in the process of happening, I think.
Yeah, Vietnam was happening. Vietnam was getting close to ending.
Yeah.
If not, or had just ended.
Which, even more interesting that they got a primarily black cast, considering what we know about the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
the world had changed so much and the movie going public had changed so much. Like, movies themselves, talkies were fucking new in the 30s.
Yeah, color was the big surprise.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was a very long-winded way of saying I think both things are true. I think the 39 is iconic for a lot of reasons.
Judy Garland being the main reason.
That said, I do
And Margaret Hamilton, let's be real.
Yeah. I do think the Wiz is a more sophisticated version of the same story. It's the story that grew up watching the 39, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, just like, in general, this whole 2 episodes, just what am I trying to say here?
Gather your thoughts.
I just think it's fascinating how one children's book from 126 years ago inspired and spawned 4 completely different interpretations. Some of them iconic in their own ways. Some of them forgettable in their own ways. But from each of them, we gleaned something different. Like, oh my god, yeah, what if Toto could talk? What kind of what's R2-D2 saying? Like, what is Toto thinking the whole time? Oh, he's just horny.
Give me the Courage the Cowardly Dog version of The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. Like, when you can't focus on the action elements, what happens when you focus on the character, like Toho did? With The Wiz, like, how does this story read for the other half of America that isn't white? How do they tell that story? And they're all different, they're all valid, even though they're coming from the same source material. And that's part of why I love what we do on the treatment so much, is that we're able to take a fucking nursery rhyme like Jack and Jill and tell a story about, like, loss of perspective, basically. And we basically told a Rashomon in space based on fucking Jack and Jill, right? Like, and it's so easy to complain that Hollywood keeps putting out sequels and IP and stuff, and most of it is just cash grabs, but there's still some life in looking at old stories and telling them different, I guess is the point I want to make here. And that even if a story isn't your cup of tea told one way, what if somebody else tells it? You know? I guess that's kind of where I've landed on this experiment we've done.
What's the quote from Hamilton that everybody likes to pull? Who lives, who dies, who tells your story?
But yeah, that's the power of storytelling, isn't it? Now, what happens if someone's inspired by a story and they think, damn, what a good story. I wonder what happened before these characters all met. What if I ignore the story? And what if I make some shit up and sell a novel to teen girls in the mid-aughts?
Oh, honey, this came out in the 90s.
In the 90s? Fuck. So what if somebody decided to tell a prequel and sell it to teen girls in the 90s? What if we found out how Glinda the Good Witch and, I guess, we'll make up a name, Elphaba, sure, for the Wicked Witch of the West. What if they, met in school and had zany adventures? What if they used to be friends?
What if there was political turmoil over the rights of animals?
What if, next time out, we covered Wicked? I mean, the second half of the movie just came out on streaming. It'll be pretty easy for our audience to find and watch. It's based on a book. It's also based on a musical that one of us has seen. Find out next episode which of us.
I'm pretty sure we already said.
I don't care. Find out next episode. Again. I think it's time we rip the Band-Aid off and I finally see Wicked.
Oh boy, we are gonna have some fun with this because I have read both Wicked books.
Oh no.
There's actually a third one now that is a prequel to the prequel.
Cool!
Yeah.
You know those characters you love that I made up? Want to know how they met?
It's not even that. It's even worse. It's watch this child get abused.
Great! Wonderful. Well, we're not doing that one next week. We're doing Wicked. We're doing Wicked by the guy that wrote Wicked and the musical by the guy that wrote the musical.
Stephen Schwartz.
Did he write the book and the musical?
No, Stephen Schwartz wrote the musical. Gregory Maguire wrote the book.
Thank you. So at least one of us knows.
Gregory Maguire must be held responsible for his crimes.
Well, we'll do that next time out. But until then, you can check the links in the description of this podcast, including our Ko-Fi account. If you want to throw a couple of dollars our way, it would mean a whole lot. You also have our social media accounts where you can find us on The Blue Sky, and our email address if you want to send us thoughts, suggestions, prayers for our future. We also have another podcast called The Treatment, a podcast about stories that we do with the incredible Mark Lucas. The most recent episode is called The Boy Who Likes Clowns, and it's an episode in which we adapt a Shaggy dog story that Mark used to tell at parties. I once saw him get kicked off a bus for telling this story.
Should have left him.
Just on the side of the road in
Yes.
central Pennsylvania in winter at night.
Absolutely.
While he was drunk for, like, the second time in his life.
He would have been fine.
Yeah, he probably would have been fine. He would have been fine. But you can check that out wherever you get your podcasts. And, Cody, I'm sick of looking at your face. It's been 4 weeks since we started recording this.
It's the longest time we've ever spent together.
This podcast will be 17 hours long. And if you want a little bit more, stay tuned for our spoiler cast of The Bride. So, now let's do spoiler talk for The Bride.
So, premise is Mary Shelley has been trapped in purgatory-ish for some reason that she can't quite figure out, and what she's landed on after indeterminate amount of time is that she has another story that she has to tell, and maybe that will free her. And so she manages to possess a girl in 1930s Chicago.
She manages to possess a girl who has been used by the police as a key witness against a local mob boss. And all around her, girls she knows are getting killed and their tongues cut out as a message from the mob.
Yes.
And when we meet her, we don't find this out till later, but when we meet her, the mob has basically finagled their way into getting all their charges dropped.
Because he's straight up, the commissioner, I think the detective straight up says the commissioner's on the payroll.
Yeah.
Which,
so,
considering
I think
that
she says that when she's yelling in the club at him.
She does, and then it's confirmed later by the detective.
Yeah.
Which, considering the our episode on The Irishman, that seems reasonable.
Yep, I believe that. And then she's promptly pushed down a staircase and dead.
Which, it makes it clear that, like, this was the night she was gonna die anyway. Like, they were gonna kill her because she was out with these enforcers. Something else important is that she's a sex worker. She's explicitly an escort.
Yes.
Because they basically use them. The police are using the escorts because they know that they're gonna be able to get in and get information that other people can't.
Yep, because the mob doesn't think women are people. So they'll say anything to a woman because the women don't talk, and if they talk, they die, and they know that. Mm-hmm. Themes.
It's about stuff.
Themes. So she dies, and then meanwhile, Christian Bale Frankenstein shows up in town to meet a doctor who...
Dr. Euphronius.
Euphronius, what was her last name?
Euphronius was her last name.
Oh, what was her first name?
Cornelia.
Thank you. Cornelia Euphronius. And is surprised she's a woman, but also has read her science.
Yes.
And this is our Frankenstein following, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
It's not Jacob Elordi, but
it's about what I feel like GDT would have done were he a woman directing a sequel.
It definitely feels like what could have happened to that character after being alone for 100 years.
Yeah. So he comes back and he is just so fucking lonely. Yeah. He forces her to make him, a bride. Yeah.
She consents.
She consents to it, but he has to entice her.
Yes.
So they dig up our lead, who for the time we'll call Ada. In a minute she'll become Penny.
Yes.
So they bring her back to life, and she does her I don't remember nothing since the accident, and they play the fucking amnesia card, and he lies. Did they while you were sleeping? Her?
I have not seen that movie.
I haven't either, so I don't know if that's accurate. But she wakes up, thinks she was in an accident, doesn't remember nothing. He lies, says they were engaged to be married, and they go to a club, a very gay underground club, which was awesome to see.
Yeah.
Because, hey, gay people and trans people have been around since the 1930s and sooner. What books do you think the Nazis were burning? So they accidentally kill some. Well, they don't accidentally kill some people, but they kill some people who are trying to sexually assault Penny, as she is now known.
Yes. Well, they have already successfully sexually assaulted her to an extent.
Then they get punished for the crime. And, of course, because some men were killed, it's all points bulletin manhunt for the monster. Somebody gets pictures of them real quick. Yes. So they become known as Frankenstein and his bride.
Yes.
And, meanwhile, possessed Penny, possessed by Mary Wollstonecraft, Sherwood, Blake, Percy, Shelley, I can't remember all of her names, is telling Ada Penny that she needs to find her name.
Yeah.
Because she can't remember her name, and, like, the thesis is she's gotta, like, learn who she is and become herself. And they do a string of murders, mostly to protect themselves from getting caught by the police.
Yes.
And at one point, there's a subplot where Frankenstein's really into this one actor, and they meet him at a club, and then the cops show up, played by the director's brother, fucking nepos. Maggie and Jake Gyllenhaal are the director and her brother, for the record. And then at this point, the cops show up and there's a standoff, and Penny, says some real good words and kind of inspires a revolution among women. She kicks off, is that the second wave of feminism?
I think that was...
First wave feminism.
Yeah.
Or first and a half wave, because the first wave was like the 20s, getting the right to vote.
Yeah.
So like kind of like...
This is speeding up second wave feminism.
Yeah, there's like speeding up feminism, basically.
Speed run feminism, 100%.
And, there's a detective on her case who is...
He has a secretary played
No, she's the detective on the case.
Yeah.
She is officially the secretary to the lead detective, but she's doing the work.
Yeah.
And then, standard road crime movie.
Very Bonnie and Clyde.
Very Bonnie and Clyde, very dodging the cops, getting in trouble, having some fun.
Yeah.
Penny learns the truth about Frankenstein.
We should probably clarify that she adopts the name Penny because he tells her that's what her name is.
Yeah, he tells her name is Penelope.
Which I believe is Ginger Rogers' real name.
Yeah, because he first says Ginger.
Yeah.
And she doesn't understand that Penelope Rogers is Ginger Rogers.
I think she does, because when he says Penelope, he says Ginger Rogers, and then she laughs, and then he says Penelope, and she's like, Penelope Rogers. Like, Ginger?
Now I want to double check that that's actually true, because I just assumed that.
I also just assumed that.
Because of... I spelled Rogers wrong, that's why it didn't work. Oh, no, she was
Okay.
not Penelope Rogers.
Okay,
I think he just says the name Penelope.
So that confirms something that I was thinking then, because if it wasn't Ginger Rogers' name, it makes me think Penelope is an Odysseus, the wife who he comes back to after a long time of loneliness and desperately sought her.
That makes more sense, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he is well read. But anyway, at this point, like, she decides her name is the Bride. Not anyone's bride, she is the Bride. And Frankenstein gets shot, so she takes him to Euphrates. And Euphroneus. Some of these names, man, I didn't read Greek like you. It takes her to Euphroneus to wake her up, and Euphroneus reveals that she had lost a husband and reanimated him, and it wasn't the same, and she had to kill him.
Yep.
And then the police show up and put all of the ammunition into her.
It's very Bonnie and Clyde.
Just a whole lot of ammo went right into her.
Yeah.
Which is, the man only gets one shot, but the woman gets absolutely massacred.
Yep.
And then, the last shot we see, like, Euphroneus might be waking them both back up.
Yes.
And then the mid-credit sting of a bunch of women with the face stain like she's got, killing the mob boss.
Yes.
Which was neat.
Not only killing him, but also torturing him. Yeah, so I've been talking about this, obviously, with friend who's getting the tattoo. And something that I think is fascinating is that, Jessie Buckley does carry this movie on her back.
Like a motherfucker. It is her movie.
Because there are so many subtle variations that she does. She is playing Mary Shelley, she's playing Ida, she's playing Penny, and ultimately she's playing the bride. And there are different accents and inflections and vocal patterns for all fucking four. Sometimes she's switching between them in sentences.
Like, by the time she becomes the bride, it's like a blend of Ada and Mary Shelley.
Yes.
Just in, like, the power.
Yes.
It's such an incredible character performance.
Yes.
Credit as well to Christian Bale, who seems to be having a really good time with it.
Yeah, he is having fun.
I joked that he actually got himself killed and reanimated to make sure his body was right for the role. But no, he's having a great time with it.
he's not taking himself too seriously, but he's also not chewing the scenery, which is like a pretty difficult line to walk. But I think they do a good job of... Their chemistry is surprising.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that from Christian Bale.
And I want to make a joke about the age gap between the actors, but it's not as big as the age gap between the characters, so I think we're fine.
I mean, realistically, she's older than parts of him? Probably?
No, because he was born in 1819.
So, a lot of this movie, the theme is, of course, monsters. Like, you have the obvious level theme of Frankenstein is a monster, but also you've got the mob boss Lupino, who's a monster, but you also have society as the monster, and you also have the fact that Ida is considered a monster, even as a human, because she's a sex worker.
Yeah.
She's always been considered a monster her entire life. So the fact that she's dead and reanimated doesn't even fucking faze her. And I think that, like, he loves her from the beginning. Frankenstein loves her from the beginning. We watch her fall in love with him.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating. But it's also just like, she embraces being a monster because she has no other choice, because she's always been a monster, in a way that he is a monster because of how he was created. She's a monster just for existing.
Yeah.
In a female body.
And part of, like, the thing you were saying earlier where, like, the police are monsters and society is the monster, like, all these bad guys, all of their victims are women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of really good male characters in this to show all of the very different types of male there are.
Yeah.
And I say that facetiously because that's how people talk about female characters a lot in film. But there's Frankenstein is the nice guy trope.
Yeah.
He's the milady guy. And, like, yeah, a lot of those guys do have, having been one of those myself for a time, like, the best interests at heart and aren't creepy. They're just weird. And, like, she learns to love him like I felt like you learned to love me.
He gives vibes of Bo Burnham's character in Promising Young Woman. Even the quote-unquote good guy, if you stand by and let shit happen, you're not a good guy.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring up the detective guy, who is the straight ally character. Mm-hmm. We should have, like, a generic white boy name for this kind of person. The Tyler, if you will.
I can't do that. I'm just taking a drink. I'm gonna die.
So he is the ally. Like, he respects his female partner and recognizes how much work she does. And she asks him, if we get this guy, put my name on it. And instead of saying, yeah, I'll try for you, he says, you know that's not my choice.
Which is the same thing.
He's like, I've got your side, but I'm not willing to do anything to change the status quo.
Exactly. He is fine with the status quo because it's not hurting him.
Yeah.
But he recognizes that there is a status quo, and he's like, man, that's fucked up, but he's not going to do anything about it.
Because he recognizes that it benefits him. Like, he's got this great job. He's able to retire before the end of the movie.
Yep.
Because he's, coasted on his secretary's work. And, of course, by the end, he does actually say, I'm retiring on the condition that I get to name my successor, and he hands her badge.
Yep.
And this is Salma Hayek, right?
Penelope
Cruz. God damn it. The accents were throwing me off in this movie, because every character had a different fucking accent.
Yeah.
Because Christian Bale was doing his, like, European thing, too.
Yeah.
Said it again. Penelope Cruz has a great moment at the end when the cops have finished emptying all of the ammunition in... Where are they at this point? Niagara Falls? Oh, no, they're back in Chicago.
Yeah.
All the ammo in Chicago into the bride. Then she steps in and says enough and starts barking orders. And all the guys are like, who the fuck are you? And why are you giving me orders? And then she produces the badge. And she's like, I'm in charge here. This is homicide. This is my jurisdiction. There's a man running away because there's like the mob guy gets in there too and starts shit. I think he shoots her first.
He does.
But she's like, that guy's getting down the window. We need to secure the building. And she starts barking orders, and they actually listen. And, like, the tide starts turning,
Yeah. And they literally, like,
So you hear that, Tylers of the world? Maybe try something good. And, I gotta have to cut that, too.
The captain of the guard is literally an old white man. And so he, like, begrudgingly listens to her because he respects the symbol of authority more than he respects her.
Yeah.
But she has the symbol of authority, which means he has to respect her.
Yeah, it's very, like, I won't say beating a dead horse with the themes, but it is a very post-Me Too feminist movie. To the point where she's yelling the phrase "Me Too" multiple times towards the end.
It's not in that context, but it's kind of in that context.
It's not "Me Too, I have also been sexually harassed just for being a woman." But she's like, "Me too, I have this rage that needs to come out."
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, I have this rage that needs to come out. I have suffered too. When do I get to explain? When do I get to give this to everyone else?
And she sees men taking out their rage on women all the time throughout the film in various ways, shapes, and forms, often towards her. Like by police officers and by dudes in an alley and...
Yeah, this movie does not shy away from using sexual assault and the threat of sexual assault and depicting it. That said, I don't think it's gratuitous, and I don't think it's throwing a rape scene in just to have a rape scene. There is a plot important thing that happens every time someone assaults her.
There's intent behind it.
Yeah.
And I think that's important that there is important character stuff happening during those scenes, because it forces an audience, perhaps a male audience, that you gotta pay attention. And you have to see how uncomfortable this is. Because shit's happening right now. This isn't gratuitous. This is important to the plot.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, like, a lot of horror movies are fairly criticized for having unnecessary sexual violence in them.
Yeah, there's the trope of slasher movies with tits out, then she gets stabbed.
Yeah, or even just, like, including actual assault or rape or whatever as a plot device, purely just, like, there's a reason it's called torture porn.
Yeah.
But I even remember, like, with Star Trek, they had the Crusher character in the new one. The Chris Pine one. They had her in a bra and panties doing her medical
I remember
talk.
that.
And they were like, what? Like, fans were like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why did you do this?
Yeah, because the original series never did anything like have everyone get all horny on ship for an episode.
Okay, but it was just her in her bra and panties. It's a little different.
I know. They didn't sex up Tasha Yar that one time, no.
That's TNG, okay? That's not the original series.
She wasn't Crusher in the 2009.
No.
Because that's TNG. You said the Beverly Crusher character.
Yeah, the Crusher analog.
What's that character's... never mind.
I'm more familiar with TNG.
Yeah, I know.
Tasha Yar is TNG.
Was she Uhura?
No, because that's communications.
I don't remember.
Whatever.
Remember. It doesn't fucking matter.
So, no, Zoe Saldana was Uhura because...
That's right. I don't fucking remember what that character was.
Yeah. But that said, I do go into this with the understanding that you will see... You do not ever see anyone succeed at sexual assault for what it's worth.
Thank goodness. But no, there's a lot of precipice of sexual violence.
Yeah.
The movie kind of teeters on that. It's kind of the point of it. Like I said, post-Me Too.
There's also
feminist horror.
There's also kind of a rule of threes in terms of the assault, because you have the first assault, which is where Frankenstein comes out and literally curb stomps a motherfucker to stop it.
That was cool.
Which, that scene is fascinating because it is the first time a man has protected her, living or dead.
Yeah.
Including the shitty detective, because he does not protect her.
No.
You've got the second time, which is the cop in the Bonnie and Clyde sequence, which again, Frankenstein shoots him and protects her.
Yep.
And then that's also where the excellent line, "Knock, knock, girl, where's your rage?" comes from. And then there's the third time, which is when... This is more of a metaphor, but all of the cops shooting her, and Frankenstein is literally not there to protect her.
He's not there, and then every man who's appeared in the movie so far penetrates her?
Yes.
With bullets?
Yup.
Yup.
Yup. Subtle!
Yeah. Not very subtle.
Yeah.
Good, though. I like to look at craft a lot. Mm-hmm. Really, really well-crafted movie. The art direction was spectacular. Cinematography was great. I love the costume designs. I loved how everything looked on screen. Yeah. I had no issues.
There are going to be a lot of bride costumes.
Because it's an easy enough costume to do for Halloween.
Yeah.
And I, for one, can't wait. Yay.
Something else thematically that's important is we mentioned the mid-credits scene where it's the women and the detective going after the mob boss and killing him. It's important that it's not her that gets the revenge. Because I was a little bummed. That was like, I felt a little cheated that she didn't get her revenge. But ultimately, it wasn't about her. It was about the movement that she started. And the movement is now getting revenge, which I think is the important thing.
Yeah, she becomes a martyr. Yeah. Which is stronger than... If you listen to our episode our episode of The Treatment on Beowulf, we talk a lot about becoming a legend and a martyrdom and all that. Yeah. Well, we don't talk that much about it, but there's a theme of that movie too. Check out that podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, we already talked about Jessie Buckley. We talked about Christian Bale. The detective is like the perfect level of like snappy 30s dialogue detective.
Oh, I loved their scenes. They were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because there was also a lot of the male versus female dynamic in play there, where the dude is flirting with the cops. I think they like lately hinted he was gay.
Bisexual.
Like, his introduction is him talking about having flirted with the police chief or something.
Yeah.
But he's talking with the men, and then she goes to like a secretary in the corner and just asks where the nearest movie theater is, because they know that Frankenstein and his bride are watching this guy's movies.
Yeah,
and it was just like a wonderful dynamic of like, for the men it's all posturing and fluff, and they're not actually doing anything, and it's the women in the background that are actually doing things.
Yeah. Another thing that they kind of rule of threes is you've got he goes to the movies by himself, he takes her to the movies, and then they run into Ronnie at the party in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, their life becomes the movie. Like, it's very much playing with reality and fiction, because Frankenstein sees himself in the movie dancing, because he's trying to imagine, like, what it's like to win the girl. And so, like, in the first scene where it's just him, he sees himself dancing in the background. And then in the next scene, after the bride has been awakened, but she's, like, still a little weird about him, he sees himself as the main character of the movie. And then once they meet Ronnie Reed, and he sees the way that Penelope at that point is handling all of the men, and, like, they're reacting to one another, and he sees the way that she basically disarms Ronnie for him, that's where it kind of crosses over into the movie becoming Bonnie and Clyde. And it's like, reality for him is now better than fiction. And he still wants the movies, but he doesn't need the movies.
Yeah.
The only time they go back to the movies is when his deception has been revealed, and now reality is scarier than just sinking back into the fiction again.
Yeah.
And that's when he gets shot.
So yeah, I think the one criticism I would say about this movie is we have a lot that we're talking about that the movie is trying to say. It's trying to say so much all at once. And I think it would have been a stronger choice to pick one or two fewer subjects and focus more heavily on the metaphor or whatever you're trying to say about the other subjects you keep in. And then the movie would be a little bit tighter and just a little bit more focused. It was a little like our conversations, just a little here, a little there, a little there. We'll get to the end eventually, but we're gonna,
yeah, it really
side quest a bit.
It really felt like the Mary scenes could have used some tightening up. Like, you either needed a hair more of her or a hair less of her.
Yeah, or a little more clarity. Because the other side of that element, which I love the choice of having Mary Shelley, haunt's not the right word, possess a woman.
Yeah.
Just a little clarity. Is the story we're following happening in the universe of the story she already wrote called Frankenstein? Or is it happening in our universe? And then how does she relate then to the bride if it's the former? If she's if she's possessing one of her own characters from beyond the grave? Like, how is that? That's the part that doesn't click with me. You know what I mean?
So, I know that at this point we will have just spent some time talking about Oz. But the way that I read it is kind of like the expanded stories of Oz, where you've got, okay, well, I talked about this one character, let's follow them for a little while. And I talked about this character, and let's follow them for a little while. And let's experience the world that I've created and what it looks like and what would happen to it. And this also is kind of like where Wicked comes from, because Wicked is like, what did the world look like prior to Dorothy? How did we get to the Dorothy situation?
Yeah.
The way that I interpreted it was she was tapping into the universe where her story came from. Because there's like a lot of woo-woo bullshit, obviously, with the fact that Mary Shelley's possessing a woman.
Yeah.
So the way that I interpreted it is that she yanked this story out of the multiverse when she wrote it. And she kind of went back into that multiverse and found that place again and was like, how has this evolved? What did this universe experience in the however long it's been since I pulled this story from it?
Okay.
That's kind of my interpretation.
I guess then where my disconnect still remains is... And I think it's just because, like, the opening sequence with Mary Shelley is she's addressing the audience of the film directly. Mm-hmm. How is the story getting to us? We're like, okay, now she's inhabiting one of her characters. Is that then... Are you implying that Maggie Gyllenhaal dreamt that you did this? Like, how is it getting to the director, to the film, to the screen, the theater, to us? You know what I mean? Like, or am I just not supposed to think about that because it's a fucking movie, William?
I think you're going a level beyond what
exactly.
they're looking for.
Exactly.
But also, that's kind of the point of the premise, is that she is Mary Shelley is the creator of Frankenstein, and she's the one telling the story. So essentially, the way that I interpreted it is, because a lot of, and maybe I'm saying this because I am also someone who writes, writers will talk about their characters and their stories as if they are being possessed by them and also inhabiting them. And especially if you're in a universe where when you spend a lot of your time in a world that you created, you kind of have, it's like that guy who...
Yeah, the guy I like to talk about, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you know the ins and outs of this world so well that it's kind of like, oh, well, you weren't supposed to do that, but now you're doing that, so let's fucking follow that path.
Yeah. No, I understand all of that stuff. I don't know,
I think you are supposed to think of it in terms of, like, Maggie Gyllenhaal is pulling this from...
Yeah, like, it's like, okay, so what I am watching is Mary Shelley convince one of her characters into doing more, because she is, like, kind of an influence on her own character at that point.
Yeah.
But, like, of course she's writing the character.
Yeah.
But then why? But she establishes that she's dead and is possessing the character. So who's writing? I guess
yeah.
Because she's not. She's dead.
Well, I think
so. That's why part of me thinks that this is happening in our world, and like, oh, Frankenstein also happened in our world.
I think the thing is, Mary Shelley's ghost explicitly is telling us, the audience, the story because she's trying to get out of purgatory.
Okay, that works. That works for me. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because I think that's what she's saying is, like, she's been trapped in this box, and she doesn't know why she's trapped in this box, and maybe if she tells us this story, it will free her.
I just kind of like that in that situation, that her character isn't, like, following her. She has to try extra hard to get her character to do what she wants it to do.
Yep.
Which is kind of funny. And I guess I'm not a writer like you are, so I guess that's more relatable to writers. Okay, thank you. I needed to talk through that. To better understand the story film.
Yeah, I think it's... The opening monologue by Mary Shelley is basically her being like...
You know what? It probably didn't click with me because I was thinking too hard trying to understand the words she was saying and not the content of the sentences.
It's the Shakespeare problem.
Because she had that accent.
Yep.
And then every line of dialogue was in a new accent. And I had to reset my brain every time the dialogue changed. Yeah. That's an autistic thing, right?
I think that's just a you thing.
Oh. You lucky normies. Understanding words. I don't know, it's absolutely an auditory processing.
It is auditory processing, yeah.
Yeah. Woo! Brain don't work good.
Brain work too good or brain don't work at all. You have two settings.
I've min-maxed my brain.
Oh, God.
And on that note, I will have already done plugs, so...
Yeah.
This is the end. This is the end of the podcast.
The end of the world as we know it. Let's get those copyright strikes, baby.
It out.
Copyright strikes.